Edmonton Sports Talk. My God, I loved it. My name's Jay Mill. Hashtag Blue. Our sports update deliverer. The Coon.
I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up today.
You know what, Reid? You might be honest. All right, here's what's going on in the Nasty Chapter.
No, I was in such a good mood today. I was just so filled with joy. I was just giddy. I was skipping around like a schoolboy in lederhosen. Gleefully. Whee! I'm skipping! That's how happy I was. I had such a good morning. I slept well. I got up. I did a little bit of exercise. I'm not in great shape, but I'm trying to be a little active in the morning. I did a little bit of exercise. You know, I phoned my mom and dad, talked to my dog on the phone. He's fine, by the way. I went to a news conference at West Edmonton Mall. And I don't go to the mall very much, so it actually is a little exciting, even though I know most of us in Edmonton kind of look down on the mall. Hoop City, 3x3. I saw Paul Sir. I saw the Plouffe sisters. Great people. I saw, by the way, Karen Principe, Jean's wife, is the deputy mayor. I believe right now she is the acting mayor because Amberjeet Sohi is stepping away, right, to run in the federal election. Does that mean Jean Principe is the first gentleman of Edmonton while Karen is the acting mayor? I think Jean Principe, can somebody tell me, can we confirm this? Somebody tell me on the text line, the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox or in the Nasty Chat or email me, reid@edmontonsportstalk.com. Does this make Jean Principe, for now, temporarily the first gentleman of Edmonton? I don't know. I don't know what the rules are. Anyway, so I go down there. I see Min Darwal, works over at CBC. He was there. I ran into a whole bunch of people. Webster Small, great event for the Hoop City 3x3. I'm going to have an interview with Catherine Plouffe a little bit later on. So I do that, and then I'm leaving West Edmonton Mall, and I think, well, look where I am. I'm right by Wayne Sports Cards. I better stop in and see Wayne Wagner. So, Wayne was been a guest on this station and on this show several times. And I get in and I said, Wayne, I love your store. And he said, well, Reid, I love your show. I don't know if that's exactly what he said, but it was something positive. And then I said, hey, man, you know what would be fun? I should open some hockey cards live on the show today. So I got 3 packs of hockey cards. We're going to open these live on the show at some point, depending on how irritated I get. Because remember what I said at the beginning of the show? I was in a good mood. I was in such a good mood. So we'll open these coops, set up a special camera. So I have no idea what's in these. We got some kind of skybox cards. We got 24-25 O-Pee-Chee with McDavid on them. We got the Upper Deck 24-25 Series 2. Maybe, could there be a throwback Legends of the Game Joaquin Gage card in one of these packs? I don't know. So I go to Wayne Sports Cards and I get some hockey cards. And I'm in such a good mood. And I get to the station. It's fairly warm out. I mean, obviously it's not summer temperatures, but you can sense it warming up. You can sense spring and summer coming down the laneway. My phone says it's plus 11. It's a beautiful day. And I thought to myself, screw it. It's such a great day. I'm going to go on air at 3 o'clock. And I'm going to say, hey, everybody, meet me in the park. We're all going to meet in Borden Park. We're going to get together in Borden Park. We're going to talk about the nice weather. We're going to all bring packs of hockey cards, and we're going to eat nachos and have beverages. And that's going to be the show today. So I was in such a good mood. It's not an Oilers game day. The Oilers are off today, and yes, we will talk about the Edmonton Oilers. And I know so many of you are concerned about Evan Bouchard's next contract. It's just ruining the day for so many of you. As I now start to transition into how I was having a good day. How I was having such a good day. And then things start popping into my mind. And I just thought, man, oh man, I was watching 2 two guys and a goalie. Great show. Great show. Tom Gazzola, wonderful job filling in today. That's one thing that makes me happy is working with Tom Gazzola. He's such a beautiful man. Joaquin Gage and Matt Kasten were on that show, and I'm seeing all this stuff about Bouchard's contract, and then Gager and Hernan are doing it on their show. And man, people are upset about something that doesn't even exist, which is I guess that's my question for you. Before we talk about what the actual contract is going to be or how good the player is, why are you upset about something that hasn't happened yet? We don't know what Evan Bouchard is going to get paid in the summer. We don't even know if the Oilers are going to keep him. And quite frankly, we don't even know how he and the Oilers are going to... So why are you ruining your day with something that hasn't happened yet? And then by extension, and I'm going to make this a little bit personal here, and I try not to do that, but why are you then by extension ruining part of my day? Because my day was going really, really well. And then all I'm hearing, Chychrun, Bouchard, Oilers, ah! That's all I'm hearing. So I was having such a good day. I was having such a good day. And then something else irritated me a little bit as well. So is Jean Principe officially the first, because Karen Principe is going to be the acting mayor, right? Because she was the deputy mayor. So I think she takes over as mayor while Sohi is away to run. And then I don't know what happens if Sohi gets elected. I'm not sure how that political process works. I guess we would have, they'd have to pick a mayor on council until there was the next civic election, municipal election. Is that how that works? I don't. Let's actually educate each other about how it works instead of just getting mad about it. But anyway, I believe Jean Principe is the first gentleman, the acting first gentleman, the deputy first gentleman, the temporary first gentleman of Edmonton. He's one of Edmonton's primary gentlemen to begin with, but I'm not sure. All right. So anyway, so then I start. I saw a little bit about this last night, but I wasn't totally invested in it. Then I start seeing this stuff about the latest. Oh, here we go again. Talk about irritating someone. Then we get into the latest goaltending interference call in the National Hockey League. And I'm seeing this, and I'm just like, what are we doing with this rule? And, there are things that, there are things about goaltender interference that over the years, I feel as if I have come to understand. Even though it can be a confusing call, and I can't always guess what's going to happen or what the call is going to be, there are some things that I have come to understand about the call. And I don't know if I'm not necessarily proud to say this, but first of all, the NHL rulebook is online. If you're confused, just Google NHL rulebook. There's an NHL media site that I have access to that might have some stuff, or how, for example, the Stanley Cup final last year was not the Edmonton Oilers no longer were in charge of that. So my accreditation for games that I used all year was no longer good. So I had to go through the NHL media site to get accreditation for the Stanley Cup final. But the NHL rulebook, it is on that site. The rulebook, you could just Google NHL rulebook. Bronco Nick says the acting mayor is rotated through council as of now. If Sohi wins, will be continued until October when we have our next election. All right. Castor 1990 says if Sohi wins a federal seat, city council elects the acting mayor. So are they going to rotate, or are they going to pick one? I think maybe they said in this case they're going to rotate. I'm not sure. But yes, there have been several precedents of mayors not finishing terms for a variety of reasons, passing away. I think at least one or two other mayors have left to run for other levels of office. Anyway, so the good old, I'm going to tell you, it's Rule 69, interference on the goalkeeper. It starts on page 101 of the rule book and concludes on page 103. It's a lot of stuff. I'm going to read you one paragraph before, because I'm not going to sit here and read the whole rule to you. You can do your own reading on this. But here's the one paragraph that I think the way it's written, I don't think this is just my interpretation. I think that the way the NHL wrote the rule book is that this one paragraph is the key paragraph because of how it starts, okay? Here's what it says. The overriding rationale of this rule is that a goalkeeper should have the ability to move freely within his goal crease without being hindered by the actions of an attacking player. If an attacking player enters the goal crease and by his actions impairs the goalkeeper's ability to defend his goal and a goal is scored, the goal will be disallowed. And the way I've summed this up over the last couple years, remember the 1 year, was it 2 years ago, Hyman had 4 or 5 goals disallowed because of goaltender interference. So Rob Brown and I were always looking at this rule. And basically, did the player do something to prevent the goaltender from making the save? To me, that's the heart of the rule. But that's my summary of it. The NHL has given a pretty good summary here. The overriding rationale, I think those are important words because they have a bunch of other language and a bunch of other paragraphs and a bunch of other instances about goaltender interference. But this paragraph starts with the words, the overriding rationale. So if I had 20 seconds to give this to somebody, so if they had to speak about goaltender interference and hadn't brushed up on it, I would say just read this one paragraph that I highlighted, okay? The overriding rationale of this rule is that a goalkeeper should have the ability to move freely within his goal crease without being hindered by the actions of an attacking player. If an attacking player enters the goal crease and by his actions impairs the goalkeeper's ability to defend his goal and a goal is scored, the goal will be disallowed. All right, this is late in the game last night. If you're on YouTube, you'll be able to see the video. Coop's going to roll it right now. If you're not on YouTube, I'll kind of describe it for you. Islanders attacking against Columbus. Puck back to the point. Shot comes in. Tipped by, who is that? Palmieri in front. And now here's the thing. It was waved off on the ice. But there's an overhead angle right now. And Palmieri, from my look, does not enter the crease. He's pushed, who's the goalie again? Merzlikins. He's sort of given a half-hearted shove by Merzlikins. Then the shot comes in, it's tipped, and it goes in. I fail to understand how this is goaltender interference. And I've sort of come around on a lot of the ways in which the NHL calls this. I've done my best to understand it. Sometimes it means understanding it after the fact. But if this is goaltender interference, this makes me less want to be a hockey fan. Now, that's a bit of an absurd statement because a large part of my job is watching hockey. But if I didn't have this job, I would think to myself, what exactly am I watching here? How exactly is this goaltender interfered with? Now, at full speed, the goalie thought it was goaltender interference. Probably because Merzlikins is flailing his arms out to the front and thereby impairing his own ability to make a save. And here's what's happening, everybody. And quite frankly, we saw Skinner try to draw a penalty when he got taken out of the game with the concussion or for the concussion protocol against Winnipeg. Now, that wasn't a goal, but I think he was trying to draw a call. Goaltenders are now hoping to make it look like they have been contacted harder than they have been. That is my belief. There is no reasons for Merzlikins to have behaved in that manner last night. You know, he was set in his crease. Yes, Palmieri comes close to him. He doesn't go in the crease. Merzlikins puts his arm out, so the ref sees something happening and then thinks, oh, the goalie got bumped. I better wave off this goal. And then we go to video review, which in my mind, quite wrongly fails to overturn the call on the ice. You know, and I was coming around on having this in the rule book, and I was starting to understand it, and then they have a call last night, which in my mind was a clear goal, was clearly not goaltender interference. And this is just absurd. That this is now what we're dealing with. And again, the same thing with offside. And now goalie interference can go the other way, but generally it's goals off the board. And I just find it extremely frustrating. And look, a lot of what I go by is, yes, what I see, but also people I talk to who played in the National Hockey League. And if you know my previous job, I had Kelly Rudy weekly on my show on Inside Sports for 11 hockey seasons. and he said, as a goaltender, I should have to battle for my ice. Everybody else is battling. I have to battle too. Now, I shouldn't be run over. I shouldn't be slashed or elbowed in the head or blatantly pushed out of the way. But if there's a guy trying to screen me and occupy that ice, I have to battle for that. So what we're saying now is, if that's the precedent, if that's the precedent and I'm a goaltender, I am just going to skate forward into a player screening me and fall over. Oh, I got bumped. What the hell was I supposed to do? Poor me. And look, I like goaltenders, everybody. I like Joaquin Gage. I think they're excellent athletes. I want them to be able to do their job. But I also want offensive players to be able to do their job. So I don't understand that one. You can try to get me to understand it. I don't understand it. It's irritated me. And I don't get it. Coob, how are you, by the way? I haven't included you in the program yet. Oh, Jay Milne's off until Thursday.
Well, I was also doing good until a couple things. Hernan mentioning The Outsiders is one of the best movies of all time, and now that goaltender interference, because I agree with you. That is not goalie interference. He didn't even step in the blue paint. That is a very, very light call. But I'm doing all right because you're awesome.
Well, thanks, Coop. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a good show for you. We'll talk some Oilers stuff. They did not practice today. We'll continue talking about goaltender interference. We will open the hockey cards live on air. You can get in touch by texting 780-218-9999. That is the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox. River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the kitchen restaurant, all-you-can-eat surf and turf for just $59.99 every Friday from 4 to 10 p.m. You can email me, reid@edmontonsportstalk.com. I usually get a limerick or two sent to the inbox. The Big Uke already sent his in. I wonder if he's going to write another one now that he heard the start of the show. And, of course, you can jump into the nasty chat to talk with me and, more importantly, with each other. If you are checking in on YouTube, remember to subscribe to the Edmonton Sports Talk channel and also to hammer that thumbs up button as well, the little Fonzie button. Now, yes, we like getting instantaneous approval of you watching the show, but we also want to build the algorithm so the show gets suggested to more and more people. If you're tuning in through iHeartRadio or TuneIn Radio, those streaming apps, thank you for doing so. Remember to favorite the show or add it to your list or however you do it or subscribe, however you do it on those apps. If you're joining us through a podcast, wherever you find your podcast, again, thank you. Remember, subscribe to the podcast for Reid Wilkins Show, The Nielsen Show, EST Afternoons with Hernan and Joaquin Gage, of all our shows. Subscribe to all of them, and it just helps us keep building. And we've built a lot here in a little over a year and a half, and great things are still to come for Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. All right, the off-topic topic. We got to do that. This would have been such a fun show to do in Borden Park. Would have been such a fun show to do in Borden Park. But oh no, that's not how it goes for old Wilkie. The off-topic topic for William Huff. Since 1952, William Huff has provided industry-leading advertising solutions for thousands of valued clients. Their unparalleled customer service, combined with decades of industry expertise and a desire to make every job the very best it could be, is what they call the William Huff Advantage. Visit their website at williamhuff.com or give them a shout, 780-454-4536. I heard Tom Gazzola on the Hangout this morning. Ashley Collingbowl, great local story, Miss Universe Canada. She's been a model for a long time, very well known. What's that other guy that works here that's on the Hangout?
I believe his name is Matteo Iwanuk.
Iwanuk. So they were on the show, and they started talking about Game of Thrones, and what's the show Iwanuk is in? White Lotus. And there was some spoilery type stuff. So the off-topic topic today, I don't know how this is going to go. Spoilers that can no longer be considered spoilers. Like, what's the period after a movie or a TV show comes out and it's no longer taboo to talk about it?
Well, the White Lotus one is definitely a spoiler.
Well, you can't talk about White Lotus.
You can't talk
about. But for me to say, hey man, like, so Vader was Luke's father, and I'm talking about something else Star Wars related, but I need to mention that to get to where I'm going. That shouldn't be out of line anymore. The Empire Strikes Back came back in 1980.
Mm-hmm.
If you've seen it and you're interested, you know about it. Right?
Yeah, I agree. That's the obvious one.
So maybe what are some spoilers that can no longer be considered spoilers? Or if you don't want to say them specifically, what's the period after which you shouldn't be worried about saying spoiler alert? I mean, are we not at that point with The Sixth Sense? Didn't The Sixth Sense come out in 1999? You're like before you were born. Like, Coop, if somebody spoils a movie from before you were born, do you think, oh my God, now how am I going to be able to watch it with a clear mind that I know that's going to happen?
Usually I cut people off. If it's a big movie that I haven't watched that I have on my list, which there's a lot of, I would be like, whoa. But if it just comes up, I'm not going to be like, oh, did you really have to say that, man? Oh, it came out in 1996. Come on, I was going to watch that like next week, maybe.
Right.
It doesn't really bother me. If it's like Dune Part 2 that came out, this year, last year, that's too far.
And that doesn't really have a shocking twist or anything. I guess there are some story elements you wouldn't want to know about. But when I think of movies that have actual twists, I guess I think of, Fight Club would be one. The Sixth Sense certainly would have one. I guess White Lotus, or I suppose even if you're talking about a murder mystery or something like that, don't tell me what happened. But at what point can we just say, all right, I need to talk about this movie or this book with a group of people that I'm with, and in order to discuss it, I need to mention some plot points. But there may be some people at the table not aware of these plot points. Like, do I have to whisper? Do I have to cut them out? Or are we just at the point we can say, okay, so now that I know Bruce Willis was dead all along, that scene 40 minutes in, now I get it. By the way, I just spoiled The Sixth Sense,
which I've never watched. And I'm not like, oh.
Did I just ruin it?
Well, I still might not watch it. I don't know.
There's certain,
like before my time, anything prior like 2005, it's free range. You could go ahead and say anything
for me, I would just say, I would say, you know what? Don't tell me.
If I know there's building up,
but even if it's just the plot of a movie or something that happens, a lot of people are saying 1 year. I think it's longer than 1 year. I think it's longer than 1 year, but interesting.
I guess where you have to say, hey, spoiler alert, maybe like the last 5 or so years since 2020 or something like that. But if you bring it up, it's like, hey, you could get mad.
And maybe it depends on your relationship with the person. Like, if I knew somebody who was an absolute movie buff, or I knew they probably wanted to see something, then I might say, hey, like, I want to talk about this movie, but I might ruin it for you. Have you seen it? Or do you want me to talk about it? But I think there are some things that it's just, we just know are now part of pop culture. I mean, who wouldn't know Vader was Luke's dad at this point? Who wouldn't know that?
Oh, you just spoiled the movie.
I wrecked everything. Remember the scene in The Simpsons? Flashes back to 1980 and Homer and Marge are walking out and Homer says that. Then there's a guy like, how to ruin the picture for me.
I think I remember that one. That's basically me right now.
All right. Well, the Nasty Chat is off and running. That's great, everybody. Okay. Give us the thumbs up. We want to get to, let's first get to 100. If everybody went in there and clicked right now, we would have word of the day, no problem.
Click, click, click. Must you click? Please, please click. Must you click? You must click. Thumb, thumb, thumb.
All right, so that is the off-topic topic for William Huff. Spoilers that can no longer be considered spoilers. They're just things that we all know. We will do. What are we going to do? I don't know. I got so irritated throughout the course of I was in such a good mood, and then the last 2 hours, my mood just went from delightful to full-on curmudgeon. We'll see how. You know who's not a curmudgeon? You know who's full-on delightful? Is Dave Jamieson, local broadcasting legend. He's going to join me in studio, so that'll be fun. Here comes the Coup with the sports update.
Detroit visits Denver. The Rangers battle the Kings, and the Golden Knights meet the Wild on a 10-game NHL slate. Meanwhile, Jakob Chychrun of the Caps has signed an 8-year deal worth $9 million average as Washington hits the ice in Winnipeg. And for the Flames, Mackenzie Weegar and Joel Farabee return to take on the Kraken as they both missed Calgary's last game in New Jersey. And back in Alberta, the Wolverines meet the Oil Barons. The Kodiaks and Canucks drop the puck while Grand Prairie visits Lloydminster, having 4 games in the AJHL. And 8 games dot the NBA slate. The Hawks and Rockets go at it. Utah hosts Memphis, and the Cavs battle the Trailblazers. And after winning a Gold Glove and being 12th in the American League Most Valuable Player voting in 2024, catcher Cal Raleigh and the Mariners are in the process of signing a 6-year extension worth over $100 million. In the soccer world, Iran and Uzbekistan had a 2-2 draw, which booked Iran's ticket to the 2026 World Cup. This sports update is brought to you by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. Get treated like a pro with their highly skilled crew. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance your performance, get the same locker room approach that's trusted by the best in the game. Visit their website at advantagesportmed.ca. No spoilers here. The Reid Wilkins Show returns on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
2 guys and a goalie.
Bouchard's camp is probably going to come in and say, we want $11 million. And Edmonton's probably going to initially come in and counter that and say, we'll give you 9. But now all of a sudden, with Chychrun for Edmonton, that just pushed you up another $500,000. Where your first offer, Bouchard probably still comes in and says, we want 11. Edmonton's going to have to come back, and instead of saying 9 to start, you're going to have to say, we're going 9.5.
2 guys and a goalie, presented by GS Construction. Tuesday and Thursday afternoons at noon, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
UFC 314 goes down at the Canadian Brewhouse on April 12th. Watch every knockout on the most TVs with epic food and drinks in the best atmosphere. Don't miss the action. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
GCL Diesel has been serving oil country since 1972. From diesel cars to SUVs to pickups. From farm tractors to school buses to a big rig. From diesel generators to forklifts, GCL can test, troubleshoot, and repair all diesel fuel system components. Whether it's injectors, pumps, turbos, filters, or additive, GCL has the parts you need to keep your diesel running the way it should. For genuine diesel parts at wholesale prices, visit GCL Diesel in the West End or online at gcldiesel.com. GCL Diesel. Diesel understood.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Love is in the air. I love you. And you? And you? And you! Why choose between your beloved items? Sentinel Storage, keeping your treasures safe to be loved again. Try 4 weeks free. Details at sentinelstorage.ca.
All right. Hope you're having a great afternoon. 3:29 is the time of day, Mountain Daylight Time, MDT, not MST. When you were a kid, did they have a magazine called MST? Like when I was a little kid, Hernan, do you remember MST? There was a magazine. It was like, I don't know if it was monthly or quarterly, but school kids from around Alberta could submit stuff to it. I think I might have had a limerick published in it, actually, when I was like in grade 4 or something.
Do you remember what it was about?
It's probably about, I don't know, like aliens or something.
Good thing to pick.
Yeah, it really is.
I've never heard of MST, though. Did you say MDT for the time zone?
Yes, it is currently MDT, Mountain Daylight Time. It is not MST.
Oh, because
we have moved
standard.
the clocks. We have moved the clocks ahead. So if you list, everybody do this in a work email, or if you're texting, even if you're texting your spouse and just be like, hey, I'm going to be home at 6:30 p.m. MDT. Please put that in there.
Or is it TBD, brah?
Or, well, yes.
TBD, yeah. MDT?
It's all MDT, brah. MST is Mountain Standard Time. MDT is Mountain Daylight Time. And we're currently on Mountain Daylight Time. The off-topic topic, when is a spoiler no longer a spoiler? Raider Jesse says TV show spoilers need to be 6 months after the season ends. Most people will binge eventually. Sully says, here's a spoiler, the Titanic sunk at the end. Don't sign text guy. Is that his handle? Or is that just what we called him?
That's his handle, yeah.
That's his handle. I'd like to meet this guy. Or sorry, doesn't sign text guy. That's actually his name now. Because I said, when is a spoiler not a spoiler? He says The Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis. And yeah. We're still trying to figure out what the mayor's husband will be called. The mayor consort? Is that what Gene is? I'm going to text Gene. Well, I guess I could have just asked him. What is your title? Here, hang on. I got to do this while we're on air. I hope nobody's taking this part of the show too seriously about Gene's actual title. What is your title now that Karen is acting mayor? Like, are you the first gentleman or what? That's what I'm going to write. Are you the first? Oh, I put forced. Are you the first gentleman? Thanks for the music, Coop. Doesn't put any pressure on pressure at all. Or what?
I can't take it anymore.
There we go. We'll see if we get a response. Oh, my goodness. People are having fun in the nasty... Well, not everybody's having fun in the nasty chat. I think most people are having fun. We are going to dive into buying or selling. It is presented, as always, by our good friend Damon Bunting. He's a consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven, he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, Instagram handle, Damon Bunting Real Estate. I guess we're buying or selling if that was goaltender interference last night. Here's another question for you. Buying or selling, get rid of video review for everything except to see if the puck crossed the goal line.
I like that.
Other than that, just live with it.
Into the game, right?
Just live with it. It was offside by 2 inches. Oh, well, linesman couldn't tell. Oh, that might have been slight goalie interference. Oh, well, we can't review it. Guess the goal counts. Oh, well.
I'm buying that because you got to trust the refs a little bit more. You can't keep spending so much time looking at these small details with the offsides and everything, and it just creates a lot of muck. I always think of the Cale Makar offside against the Oilers that was eventually counted, right? Because he didn't have possession. Because
he wasn't actually touching the puck when that was a weird call. When they, I remember, because I guess I don't tweet a lot. Like I don't live on Twitter. It's something to just add a little bit or help promote the show and the station. But when they upheld that goal, I said, well, the video review has officially failed the National Hockey League. But because his stick wasn't on the puck when it crossed the blue line, the goal stood, which is absurd because obviously he's in possession of the puck. He's touched it outside the blue line and was the first person to touch it inside the blue line, right? So to me, he carried the puck across the blue line with a player in an offside position, but his stick wasn't actually on the puck when the player was offside. So in one sense, it's a smart play. Oh, I'm lifting up my stick. Look, I'm not touching it. Okay, my guy's onside and I'm touching it. So
it happens so fast too, right?
So that one actually was enforced correctly, but it doesn't make the viewer at home who doesn't watch thousands of offside reviews like the video. And quite frankly, the Oilers probably should have known not to challenge that one. We're going back on a goal 3 years ago. 3 years ago?
Still, it's a big one that was talked about for a long time, right?
Right.
And it happens so fast that when you break it down in the video review, it's so slow that most time you won't even see that at real speed.
But that's
a lot of these calls, right?
But that is both the problem and the beauty of the technology we have. Is that we can slow everything down to frame by frame and literally see centimeters, if not millimeters, on the ice. So if a play is offside by 2 millimeters, did the attacking team really gain an advantage? 2 feet? Okay, maybe. The one, I don't even remember who it was. Was it the Duchesne play about 10 years ago where he was offside by a third of the zone? So, I don't know.
Oh, that one where he's collecting the pass and he's clearly already offside by like 2 players laying down.
Yeah, the one that got the rule changed.
He's at the ringette line.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, in that case, could they not just say, hey, the NHL War Room can just buzz them and say, whoa, 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 whoa. That was blatantly offside. You got to fix it. This is what frustrates me. Video reviews should provide clarity. And as much as I initially disliked the offside challenge, and I remember about a month or so ago, the Oilers had a goal disallowed on offside. And I asked Corey Perry after the game, when you came into the league, there wasn't an offside challenge. Has the offside challenge made the game better? And he said, well, it doesn't matter. If it's offside, it's offside. It doesn't matter if it's an inch or a foot. That is the rule. I mean, there has to be a standard for the rule. Just like, the puck doesn't have to hit the back of the net for it to be a goal. It just has to go across the goal line. So I actually am more comfortable, even though it takes goals off the board, I'm more comfortable with the offside challenge than with the goaltender interference. Because the large majority of the time, you can see that it was offside. It's obvious. Maybe it's close, but it's obvious. The call last night, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's a case of the NHL War Room saying, well, you know what? It's not obvious either way, so we're just going to go with what the ref called on the ice. But if it's a close call and you're just going to go with what the ref called on the ice, why bother having a video review, right? That's what I wonder about. Now I realize, maybe Seattle would have had a goal when they bumped into Skinner the other night. There's going to be no perfect system, but I just find last night's very frustrating. And even though I've learned a lot about goalie interference and I've come to understand it a lot better, I just look at that play last night and I think to myself, the New York Islanders did everything you're taught to do. And you're taught to go to the front of the net. You're not taught to sort of go to the front of the net. You're taught to try to screen the goaltender. And that was done by the New York Islanders, and they weren't rewarded for that. So I find that very frustrating. So like buying or selling for Damon Bunting, just get rid of the video review entirely. Get rid of the challenge. Now, that one wasn't challenged because it was in the final minute, right? So it was automatically looked at by the league, which is fine. But I don't know. I saw that and I immediately thought, this is silly. Like it just, how they say some things don't pass the smell test? That didn't pass the smell test to me. That shouldn't have been a goal. Now, again, it was disallowed on the ice. So if there was no video review, I guess it still should have been disallowed. But in that case, I guess we would have to live with human error as opposed to as opposed to having human error twice in my mind. Had the human error of the referee on the ice, and then to me, you had the human error of the people in the video review room, the war room, making the mistake again. That's what I'm looking at. I don't know. Like I get why there's video review, but sometimes I'm just like, what's the point? It's just A, it slows the game down. B, sometimes it doesn't provide any more clarity. Somebody's always mad about it. Like, and I know there's people saying to me, like, no, Reid, you're wrong. Like, that's goalie interference. He bumped him. But I don't know. Chris Perper says, isn't video review there to make sure the call is correct? Yes, but Chris, I'm not sure if you're agreeing with me or disagreeing with me. You got to expand on that, I think. Collingwood Rob says, before you wipe out all video reviews, check out the goal referee Denny Morrell allows against Chicago. That'd be ages ago. I believe Denny Morrell is the guy that disallowed one of Rob Brown's goals in the season that he got to 49. Chris in Alabama says, take video review out, then Hyman will score 50 every year. Then he says, go Oilers and roll Tide. Andrew the accountant says, I am buying on that read. So many overturned goals are like a few inches offside. I never feel like I can celebrate a goal anymore because of fear of it getting called back unless it's a clear breakaway or something. Well, that's a good point. Whenever there's jostling around the crease, I'm always looking like, wait a minute, is this being waved off? Is it goalie interference? And then you always look at the bench of the team that got scored on. How closely are the refs or the coaches looking down at their monitors? They're always looking down after they get scored on because they want to see the replay of what happened. But if they keep looking down, and here's another thing that frustrates me. There's a close play, and you can tell the refs and the linesmen are delaying dropping the puck. You know, they're kind of like, oh, we know we're supposed to drop it, but they're looking at it. I wonder if we screwed up. I wonder if they're going to want to. I wonder if they're going to want to check this out. So, anyway, it just kind of made me mad seeing that goal, because to me that's just a good goal. That's just a hardworking, classic hockey goal. Get it back to the point, shoot it, guy in front is in the way, and tips it by the goalie. Arthur says, what other league disallows a score because of something that happened 3 steps prior? Well, I know that's the debate about offside, right? I mean, as long as the puck is in the zone, you can still have a goal disallowed for offside. It could go back 30, 40, 50 seconds. Yeah. Lucky says, make the rule more black and white with less gray area. The IIHF rules players can't be in the crease unless the puck enters first. If the goalie is outside the crease and interfered with, too bad. Yeah, and that, to be fair, that is sort of what the NHL rule says. It doesn't quite say it that blatantly. I mean, they do distinguish between inside and outside the crease. But in my mind, there was no contact in the crease last night. So it made me frustrated. Keep clicking the thumbs up on YouTube. We, of course, are in the Canadian Brewhouse studio. Great to have Canadian Brewhouse on board. It's time for a wing throwdown at the Canadian Brewhouse. Fuego Verde versus Honey Blaze, competing for the flavor of the month. Who's taking the crown? Hit up the Canadian Brewhouse for wing night. Our house is your house. Dave Jamieson is going to join me at the top of the hour. We got to get to a sports update here with the Coop.
East, the Senators and Sabres have a date with former Sabre Dylan Cousins taking on his old team for the first time. Elsewhere, Montreal visits St. Louis. The Lightning battle the Penguins, and the Jets play the Capitals with Jakob Chychrun signing an 8-year, $72 million extension with Washington. 4 games dot the AJHL schedule. Drumheller hosts Canmore. Whitecourt hits the ice in Fort McMurray, and the Canucks face off against the Kodiaks. And on the court, Golden State meets Miami. The Thunder tip off against the Kings, while the Magic take on the Hornets. Having 8 games in the NBA. And ESPN's Jeff Passan has reported that catcher Cal Raleigh and the Mariners are finalizing a 6-year extension worth over $105 million. Raleigh appeared in 153 games last season, recording 34 home runs, 100 runs batted in, while claiming his first Gold Glove. And after drawing 2-2 against Uzbekistan, Iran has qualified for the 2026 World Cup. This sports update is brought to you by Clover Bar Feeds. Clover Bar Feeds has all the animal feed you'll need. Get top-notch service and selection from their family-owned business. Visit Clover Bar Feeds at 200 Portage Close in Sherwood Park, or call them at 780-467-5014. More with Reid on the other side of the break here on the Reid Wilkins Show. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
Get your fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Gallo LLP is an Alberta-based accounting firm with expert chartered professional accountants in both our Edmonton and Sherwood Park accounting firms. Our experienced and innovative accountants provide financial advice that saves our clients money. Simply put, we help our clients protect their assets and grow their businesses. At Gallo LLP, they go beyond the numbers to ensure the continued success of your business. Reach out to Preet or John to discuss how they can help your business grow. Visit gallollp.ca today and see how they can help you take your business to the next level.
Do you have pets? Horses? Chickens? Did the place you used to get your feed recently close down? Have no fear. Clover Bar Feeds is here. Whether it's dogs, cats, horses, or chickens, Clover Bar Feeds has you covered. Offering a large variety of food and feed, you can trust the experts at Clover Bar Feeds. They've been family owned and operated for over 60 years. This means you can expect nothing less than top-notch service and selection. Come visit them at 200 Portage Close in Sherwood Park or visit them online at cloverbarfeeds.com.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know. All right, good to have you tuning in this afternoon. Dave Jamieson. He won't like me calling him this local broadcasting legend, is going to join me at 4 o'clock. He's already out in the bullpen catching up with Hernan and Matthew Awanek. I'm always happy to catch up with you. If you're tuning in, you'll be like, where's Jay Milne? Why are we stuck with Reid? Jay Milne is off for another day after today, right? And then he's back on Thursday. I have some days off next week. That's shocking. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. Time off during the Oilers season, not something I have been able to do for a long, long time. I'm going to have 3 days off myself. Awanek's forcing me to take it.
Yeah, he wants you to study goaltender interference.
That's
NHL.
right. I have to come back with a full thesis on goaltender interference. All right. The Oilers did not skate today, so I would expect a full morning skate tomorrow. 8 o'clock game tomorrow night at home to the Dallas Stars. It is going to be a 7 o'clock GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show here on Edmonton Sports Talk with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas as the Oilers continue to sit with LA, both teams with 87 points in the Pacific Division. LA does have a game in hand, so they have a better points percentage. What else is going on? St. Louis still looking good for that last playoff spot in the West. Montreal ahead of the Islanders, and the huge point, because the Islanders could have won that game in regulation if that hadn't been goalie interference, right? And then they had to settle for a single point. So anyway, some good races going on for jockeying within divisions and for jockeying for playoff spots. It is time for the Oil Understood for GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around. From turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors, they are the critical engine component experts. Proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years, and now a partner of Edmonton Sports Talk and the Reid Wilkins Show. GCL Diesel. Diesel. Understood. Okay. I'm still, even as I'm doing this, I'm not totally sure how to approach it because it's a topic that really upsets people. So I guess my question is, what do you really want? I guess that's my question. Jakob Chychrun got a new contract with the Capitals, 8 years, $9 million cap hit. Pretty big deal. Evan Bouchard's going to need a new contract with the Edmonton Oilers. Evan Bouchard gets a lot of points. Even this year, when it took him, 2/3 of the season to get a power play goal, he gets a lot of points. He's really good with the puck. He makes frustrating, sometimes baffling errors. He's not an overly physical player. I mean, to me, that would be the summary of the scouting report. So I understand people who say you can't pay Bouchard a lot of money. But to those people, I would also say, do you understand that players who get points in the NHL get paid the most money? So I'm fine with everybody having an opinion. I'm fine with everybody having a take. I'm fine with everybody having a maximum amount that they would pay Evan Bouchard. But you have to realize that your maximum amount may not be realistic in how the NHL operates. And I think you also have to be realistic that for many, many years, I spoke on shows like this one with Oilers fans who would have given up their firstborn child and half of their collection of Hot Wheels cars to have a point-producing right-shot defenseman who could have an elite shot from the point on the power play. Like, people were desperate for that. And then now the Oilers have one, and yes, he has flaws, trust me. I see them. And the discussion is, we can't possibly have this guy on our team. Like, make that make sense for me. I guess that's my question. You know, what do you really want? Do you want a point-producing blue liner or not? Those are really the options. Because nobody else the Oilers have is going to produce points from the blue line the way Bouchard does. And for those of you typing, well, what about Cale Makar? Stop typing it. Cale Makar is a unicorn. Cale Makar could retire in 12 to 15 years as one of the best defensemen in the history of the National Hockey League. Okay? It's like other teams who have really good first-line centers bitching that they don't have Connor McDavid. Stuff happens with the draft lottery and at the draft. The Avalanche got McDavid. So I guess my question is, what do you really want? And if your answer is, I don't want Bouchard's mistakes, that's fine. Just remember, then you won't have Bouchard's points, and you won't have a power play that's as good, and you won't have the games in which Bouchard actually plays a fairly tidy game and just gets the puck and gets it to the other end of the rink. Sean B. Hill says, is that supposed to be like a pun or something? Sean B. Hill? Or is that his actual name? Says, the problem is Darnell Nurse makes too much money. Use the wrong two, Sean. Should have two O's on it. Oilers having $19 million on the blue line is the issue. Bouchard isn't the issue. Okay, well, fair enough.
Well, you look at that whole signing, though, right? It was Seth Jones being signed for a crazy amount of money. And then Quinn Hughes and Darnell Nurse both getting those contracts in that same year, right? And Quinn Hughes has really been the only one to show up to that amount. Like Seth Jones.
Yeah, he's an outstanding player.
Yeah.
He's an outstanding player. Mm. I guess I'm just saying Bouchard is not directly replaceable. Now, it's possible to have a team without Bouchard that is as good or better as the current team. It's also possible to have a team without Bouchard that's worse than the current team. I guess what I'm saying is, this is going to sound silly, but I feel like I constantly have to remind people of this. If you're going to evaluate a player, you have to evaluate what he is as well as what he isn't. Cody Ceci was never more loved by Oilers fans until he played for the San Jose Sharks at the start of the season. Right? Like, I remember I went on a podcast last year about 3 weeks before the playoffs, and they were asking me who the Oilers' 6 defensemen were going to be. And before I gave my list, they were listing the 6 defensemen, and they were not listing Ceci. Like, they were listing Desharnais and somebody, maybe Broberg or somebody else. And I was like, what about Ceci? And they're like, well, Ceci's not good enough. And I realized Ceci had some struggles in the playoffs and got sat out a game in the Stanley Cup final. He still did a lot of things well. Bronco Nick says, I hope an offer sheet comes for Bouchard. Well, maybe it will. And again, he's very frustrating at times. I get that. Like I've talked about, the frustrating thing for me is the upright, non-athletic stance and waving his stick at people to poke checking them instead of getting his body in the right position. I get all that. But like you what I'm saying is, though, like you can't have everything. Like, jettisoning Bouchard from the roster doesn't necessarily make them better. That's all I'm saying. Big Uke, if Bush is gone next season, the fans bitching about him leaving will want a right shot with elite point production to run the power play. Soapkirk, the issue is that Bouchard is going to get paid like a top 5 defenseman, and he's maybe in the 15 to 20 range.
But aren't contracts changing like that? They are going to start being paid more money over time.
The cap's going to go up. The money always goes up. But, I mean, there is a concern here. Like, it is fair. I mean, McDavid's going to make a lot of money. Draisaitl's kicking in. Nurse already makes a lot of money. I mean, that's fair. The person who said that it's actually Nurse's contract that, quote-unquote, ruins everything. You know, understandable. Now, Nurse was always going to get a lot of money. I mean, we're talking about, what, he got 9.25?
Yeah.
He was probably getting at least 8. I mean, he got a little bit of a bunch. And you have to remember, too, with Nurse, he had a couple of deals in which he took probably less than he could have got at the time. So that all, if you want to go back and do history, and this led to this, and this led to this, that's all part of that story, too.
It definitely is. And, like, do you think, I don't know, if the Oilers end up signing Bouchard or something, it's 9.5 range, $9 million, whatever it is. You think they might backload it or something like that?
Well, there's only so much you can change it from year to year, and the average annual value is still the average of everything. You know, I guess what I'm saying is, you know, and I can't answer this for you, but you know, you have to decide what you're willing to live with, because there's no perfect player. I mean, even Leon 2 or 3 times a year has a stinker, you know, where he just, well, like the game against Anaheim, where he takes 2 or 3 incredibly bad penalties, right? Sean B. Hill. Sean B. Hill has not written in before, has he, to this show?
I don't believe so.
A new love interest for me. Sean B. Hill says, keeping Bouchard at $10 million or under and moving Nurse solves the issue. Bouchard is young, was unreal last year in the playoffs. He will get better. Can't judge him before 600 games. Mainstream media wink. Yes, well, I don't use that games played thing for defensemen.
Well, he's only at
I used to work with somebody who
right?
did, and I believe it's 200 games, but yes. Yeah, but I mean, Nurse can't be moved, right? Well, I guess he has some teams he can be traded to. Is it this year or next year? I think it's in a couple of years. Anyway, I just accept that regardless of what happens with Bouchard, people are going to be unhappy about it. I guess I believe sometimes you don't know what you got until it's gone. I hope the Cinderella song is now running through everybody's head, because if it's not, I'm going to be incredibly disappointed. All right, 780-218-9999 is the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox. Here's another unnamed texter. Nurse has been our most consistent D-man all year, and the traffic on Yellowhead has never been better. Bone says Milne will win a Grammy before Bouchard gets an offer sheet. Andrew, the accountant, says, unlike the Nurse contract, the cap will actually continue to go up after Bouch signs his. He's probably worth $9 to $10 million. I wonder how many people who want Bouch gone also wanted the Oilers to trade for Erik Karlsson. All right, a lot of good comments coming in. Thank you for your participation. We will keep talking about this. Dave Jamieson is standing by. We got the 4 o'clock break.
The Lock Shop.
To absolutely nobody's surprise, the Dodgers are the favorite to win the World Series, plus 270. The Yankees, who I think are really overvalued, especially like losing Soto, Garrett Cole being out there, 8-1. The Braves are at 9-1. You got the Phillies and the Mets at 10. And are there any other World Series bets, knowing that the Dodgers will be the final boss at the end?
The Lock Shop, weekday mornings at 11, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Your home for live music and great performances is the River Cree Resort and Casino.
Someday you'll be shedding your tears.
A one-of-a-kind retrospective. It's Glass Tiger, This Island Earth, April 4th at River Cree Resort and Casino.
Don't forget me when I'm gone.
Get your tickets at rivercreeresort.com. River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement? Bet on it.
You've heard the name, but what does it mean? For over 66 years, William Huff Advertising has supplied signage from screen printing to digital to LED with design, production, and install in-house. It's a one-stop shop for all your signage needs. Edmonton owned and operated, William Huff has been trusted by the biggest companies and teams in the City of Champions and many others across the country to do the job. If you're looking for a way to get the word out about your company or event, they are the answer. Go to www.williamhuff.com. Their results speak for themselves.
Play more tables and games.
Play more tables and games. Make the most of your fan game. Oh, you want to, you need to, you know just what you gotta do. It's time to add some fun to your life. Make the most of your fan game. Play more tables and games.
PlayMoreGames.ca.
The NHL has 10 games, which sees Dylan Cousins meet his old team for the first time when the Senators battle the Sabres. And Seattle then takes on Calgary. Joel Farabee and Mackenzie Weegar returning to the Flames lineup after they both missed Saturday's game against the Devils. In Winnipeg hosts Washington with Jakob Chychrun fresh off signing an 8-year extension worth $72 million with the Capitals. AJHL action sees 4 games. Calgary and Camrose duke it out. The Eagles and Dragons butt heads, while the Storm and Bobcats have a date. On the court, the Warriors tip off against the Heat. Dallas hits the road in New York to challenge the Knicks before OKC visits Sacramento, having 8 games around the association. In Seattle, the Mariners are signing catcher Cal Raleigh to a 6-year extension worth over $100 million. And last season, Raleigh finished 12th in American League Most Valuable Player voting and won the Gold Glove. Meanwhile, Iran has qualified for the 2026 World Cup after they had a 2-2 draw with Uzbekistan. I'm Zachary Kubish. That was your sports update. The second hour of the Reid Wilkins Show starts right now.
All right, I've received a reply from Gene Principe on his official title now that his wife, Karen, is acting mayor. Gene's reply, the mayor's main squeeze. So that is what we call Gene now. That's incredible. I knew he would reply.
Does it pay anything, or do you just sort of ride in the sidecar?
Yeah, he just gets to ride in the sidecar and do his own thing and be Gene and come up with puns. That's not really a pun. That's just funny.
No, that's Gene is very self-aware, and I guess now he is politically adjacent, correct? That would make him politically adjacent, which I guess he's been for a while, but that's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, she's been on, I think this is her first term on council, right?
Yes.
Yeah. No, good for Gene. They did that cover, was it Edify magazine, where he was shirtless? Yeah. Gene, though, like, if somebody says they dislike Gene, I'm often like, what are you talking about?
I may be stretching here because he is largely local, but I'm going to put this moniker on him. He's a national treasure.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yes.
I would say so.
Now, not a provincial.
I get it. Some people don't like the puns or the humor because I'm a person.
Or the hair.
Yeah. Because I am a person since I was a little kid. Some people just don't like my humor, but it hasn't changed. But that's life. You got to stand out.
Yes,
Gene stands out because of the puns.
He's kind of like Dr. Seuss. And who... I said some kind of a weird thing.
Dr. Seuss?
No, exactly. Yeah. Nobody hates Dr. Seuss.
Well, I hope he wasn't. I hope now somebody's not going to text and be like, Dr. Seuss was a Nazi, right? I don't think that's going to be the deal.
Here you go with the politics.
By
again.
the way, that's not politics.
No,
that's just
true.
a joke.
It's observational.
I was struggling with how to introduce Dave. I came up with one while we were talking. Local gadabout Dave Jamieson is here.
So what you're saying is I can't find work. Is kind of what you're.
Well,
you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm unemployable.
You're at the stage of your life,
yes.
And I hope to be at this stage one day myself, where work is not a necessity.
Well, you clearly. Can I share a quick anecdote about something like personal?
We got at least an hour.
We got at least an hour. The Power Hour here on the Reid Wilkins Show. Because I must have spent, and I'm sure there are viewers, listeners out there to EST who've gone through something similar. So my credit card was compromised, okay?
Uh-oh.
And if I'm reading the numbers correctly, somewhere in the area of, $500 million was run through in some far-flung country.
Oh, geez.
And I'm not kidding. I spent over 2 hours with a very patient gentleman who then soon lost patience with me, trying to go through this and reverse charges and come to my assistance. So right now I'm probably carrying something like the national debt of some small country. So
this is a terrifying
this
story,
might be
actually. This is an awful story.
This might be the last thing I do publicly, Reid. And before I vanish, if I can't pay these bills. But anyhow, it was kind of.
But they know you didn't buy all this stuff.
Yeah, I did not invest in a pipeline or buy a plane or anything.
To that extent?
Oh, there were some heavy numbers I was looking at. I go, no. Can you verify this? No, I did not purchase a Lamborghini. No.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, it was funny.
Was this all online that it happened?
No, because I do very little online. My card, I'm guessing, who knows where it was, skimmed.
Oh, it was one of
where
those.
It was one of those things. So yeah. So
now, did somebody notify you and say
my credit card company and then my credit union? I banked there, and next thing I know, the crack squad was on it.
Oh my! Well, I hope this all gets sorted out.
Well, I do too.
I thought I heard once that credit card fraud is so common that if you call your company and say, "Hey, something's wrong," they're just like, "Yeah, fine."
Yeah, largely. Yeah, this seemed to be a little more detailed, and because it involved.
This wasn't One TV. This was okay.
Again, a pipeline, a railway, an airplane. I don't know what.
But how would they think? How would the thieves think they're going to get away with that?
Well, I don't know, Reid. I can't get in the mind of the criminal, but yes, it's yes.
I can't get into
the mind of the criminal.
I'm so glad that has now been said on this show.
Can you confirm a purchase of $19,961,701?
But you shouldn't be able to put that on your credit card. Aren't there limits?
But you got to give him credit for just going for it. Swing, right?
Like, I'm pretty sure I can only put so much on my credit card in one day.
What did the great Taylor Hall once say? Shoot your shot? Shoot your shot.
I think that was him.
I'm sure he came up with it. He's a noted.
I think Taylor Hall said you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. No one before the NHL ever said that.
That's right.
I want to read this post here from Mike, the Michigan fan, who we have a side bet in the NCAA pool.
Oh,
we're both doing poorly. He brought in smoked goods.
Mm-hmm.
He made us stuff in a smoker. He's a great guy. But I have a differing opinion with Mike, the Michigan fan, on this text. We were talking about Bouchard, the potential for his next contract, which some Oilers fans are already mad about, even though it hasn't been signed.
That's so us. That's so us.
He said it's bad because of the inconsistency. One good year shouldn't result in a huge payday. If he was averaging 70 to 80 points without the success of another player, then you can show him the money. And he brought up something, he gets a lot of points off what McDavid and Draisaitl do. But I'm at the point now where I don't fault a player for being good with other good players. If it was that easy to produce 70 to 80 points with McDavid and Draisaitl, somebody brought up Desharnais earlier.
Yes.
Why wasn't Vinny doing it? Good teams have multiple great players. So I don't agree, Mike, the Michigan fan, with the thought that it's like, well, we can only pay him for what he would be worth if everybody else on the team sucked. The bottom line is the Oilers do have McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yes, they do.
And if they find guys to get points with those guys, it's going to drive up the value of those players.
Right. I'm nodding my head vigorously and agreeing with you in ways that are probably overly aggressive because, Reid, this is where having a McDavid, having a Draisaitl, for some people who don't maybe like the Oilers for whatever reason, and they're entitled to that, they'll always go, yeah, the Oilers are good. Yeah, but you've got McDavid and Draisaitl. And you go, well, okay, how do we play this? Get rid of them and prove that we're good without them, which I guess they're kind of doing now.
They did it once so far this year.
Right. And I don't know. This is a real sort of pretzel logic kind of conversation that we just go around and get all twisted up. Evan Bouchard's a good defenseman. You could say very good. And last year, obviously, he did some wonderful things. Contracts are a funny thing. And I heard you taking a text or talking about Nurse and how he's been so consistent. And you never talk about Nurse now. And you tell me you do this every day, Reid. I know when I was at TSN 1260, Nurse was a piñata.
Yes.
A daily piñata that people hammered. He was no longer a human. He was a contract number.
Yes.
Now we're turning the turret on the tank and pointing it in the direction of Bouchard. Whatever he's going to get next is going to be too much, in the opinion of most, except Bouchard and his family, I'm sure. and everybody else is going to go, that guy is stealing from us. Well, you know what? The market will determine what he's worth. And if he gets it here, gets it somewhere else, good on him. Go forth, young man. Load up the Bouch bomb. That's where I come out on that.
Yes, which, to be fair, has not been loaded up to the extent that we would have liked this season. But still, and I mean, I quote Rob Brown a lot because he's a smart man.
And you should.
I spent 11 years of hockey watching games alone in a room with him, so you tend to talk a lot and hear somebody's pearls of wisdom. He said, with the puck on his stick, Evan Bouchard is an elite NHL defenseman.
Correct.
Now, I know sometimes he gives the puck away, but there are a lot of times he doesn't give it away and makes a pass that very few other people could make. And he still does have 13 goals this year. There's a lot of talk of he won't produce as many goals as he did last year. Probably, but he could also score 5 in the last 12 games to equal last year. That's also possible.
And he could also go, do people still say ham? Ham in the playoffs.
Right. Full ham. Full John Ham.
Full ham. Full John Ham. Thank you for that. Tracy Ham.
So it's an interesting, and I know when I always think, look at the whole thing, and I'm not defending the player or overlooking. And again, I'll say that I don't know if you heard me saying this earlier. I get more frustrated about the upright posture and the waving of the stick to check somebody than the turnovers, because I accept at some point most players who have the puck a lot are going to lose it at times. And I know that's not easy to take.
You would like him to be stouter defensively.
Yes,
is that fair?
Just get in. I'm not asking you to turn into Larry Robinson or Scott Stevens with some of the hitting, because I believe Larry Robinson hit a lot in his prime too. I think he was quite mean. I was a little guy.
Reid, I was there for it. Yes, he was a
vicious man.
Nasty bit of business. And if he'd been anywhere else, because Montreal, look, I'm diverting here. I'm pulling a low tide. I'm going down a very old rabbit hole. The Montreal Canadiens got the benefit of they're classy, right? Because they were the original 6. Larry Robinson could have been a Philadelphia Flyer or a Cleveland Baron and wreaked havoc. Like, he was a nasty bit of business. So, yes. But anyhow, your point is taken about,
I don't expect Bouchard to start running people over. It would just be nice. And to be fair, in the playoffs, maybe he did this a little more. Mm-hmm. Just get in the way. Just rub somebody out. Don't sort of turn 180 degrees to the guy and swat your stick loosely across his path. Like, he almost looks like he's curling. Hey, let me warm up this patch of ice for you, McKinnon. Oh, you're by me. How did that happen?
Intake, outtake, whatever. Yes.
So anyway, a lot of discussion about that. What are you up to nowadays, man?
Well, not this really. Just coming in out of the bullpen. I'm one of the long relief guys, but not the closer. Finished up the contract at the Edmonton Elks because I did 2 projects for them last year. So that would put me 15 years with that organization, 14 in my first run from 98 to 2012. And then I came back to co-chair along with our friend Evan Dom, the 75 season celebration, that reunion, the dinner, and all of that stuff there. And as that was wrapping up, I was asked by Rick Lawlisher, who is an old friend and someone I respect greatly, if I could come in and on an interim basis to the end of the season, serve as the interim director of tickets and service. So I did that, and that was an incredible experience. And I learned a lot. Reid, I guess I'm old enough, I'd like to say wise, but that wouldn't be applicable here, is that I didn't know what I didn't know about parts of the business that I hadn't been like really in on, like selling of tickets, and what that requires is a hell of a lot of hard work and not easy when the club is, having the kind of a season that they were, very much up and down last year. But all of that said, that contract came to the end in December, and I've just been, frankly, focusing on my physical and mental health as, I continue to deal with some things as the fallout and, if you will, from having cancer. So just dealing with that, and I'm sure I'll dive into something and in soon enough.
Well, and I know you've done several things with Edmonton Sports Talk since we launched a year and a half ago. I know I'll say we, even though I wasn't there right from the beginning. But there are, I don't want to turn this into, and I know you've told the story of your cancer journey a lot. And
happy to tell it.
We're having you on necessarily today. But I do want to mention there are texts and people in the Nasty just saying, good to see Dave.
Yes, he's alive.
Looks like he's doing well.
Yeah.
Well,
there was a moment there, Reid.
Well, it's funny. So I don't know if you heard me talk about my buddy Zip.
I've heard you mention.
So Zip is a teacher.
Yes.
He's an old friend going back to university. One of my best friends. I want to say 2016, I believe it was. He was struck with meningitis.
Oh.
And it was probably about a 1 in 10. Like his chances of winning the lottery were probably better than him getting this strain of meningitis.
Okay.
And he survived.
Yes.
Now, he's also one of the funniest men I know, and he spent like months in the Glenrose. His birthday's in, so he got sick in February. And I mean, I've talked about him. He doesn't mind if I talk about him. He's a double below the knee amputee.
Okay.
It is now plays wheelchair rugby and remains one of the funniest, cleverest, kindest people that I know. So there's this birthday party for him in the Glenrose. They booked the common room there or whatever.
I know it well.
So a bunch of so I'm there with some other friends and a bunch of his family members, and I know I have like this Wilkie thing. He's the one who started that because he thought it would be funny to give me the most obvious nickname and then overuse it. That's where this all comes from. People calling me Wilkie. You're pretty good on Instagram,
right?
So we're at this thing, and he pulls me aside, and he's like, "Wilkie, you having a good time?" I'm like, yeah, this is cool, man. Like, it's great. So many people are here for it. He's like, this isn't a birthday party. This is a you're not dead party. And I know it's dark, but
Reid, I like Zip already, and I've never met him. There is in those of us, and just to quickly tell my story again, is I was diagnosed with cancer. Head and neck cancer, HPV specifically, which is now, thankfully and mercifully, there's a vaccine for it. I believe it's the only cancer that there is an actual vaccine for. But all of that said, I was diagnosed in June 5th of 2021. So we're in COVID. My timing wasn't great. to get diagnosed with something this serious. And I had found I didn't diagnose myself, but I noticed that there was an abnormality in my neck that just didn't look right. So I went and sought out treatment, a medical appointment right away. And very quickly it was determined that I had cancer, and I underwent surgery about at 5 hours on July 30th of 2021, where I now proudly, well, not really proudly, a long scar from behind my ear across my throat. And so I came out of that, got through that, and that was really, really hard. Had to relearn how to swallow, and then underwent 6 weeks of head and neck daily radiation, which is brutal.
Right.
And those people out there who've done something similar, and so I was really shredded physically and mentally, as you can imagine. So it's taken a very long time. But out of that, I have now a lifelong condition, and I never say I'm cancer-free because I don't know that yet. I have to get to the 5-year mark, and even then they'll bring me back, right? So I've rung the bell at the cross, but I have not been given the green light from my medical team. But I have what's called dysphagia, dysphagia.
Oh, that's like for word of the day. Lately.
That exactly. Text to win. And so I have that condition, which means I am at a high risk to choke, and I have difficulty swallowing. Okay. So don't worry. I just have water on the show. Okay. You won't have to do a Heimlich. You won't have to do a Heimlich on the program today. But that's my condition, and so I have to navigate, through that in terms of how I go about my day-to-day business. But, it's been a very difficult, life-changing journey, but I'm now a patient advisor to a study at McMaster University, and I'm going to be going to a medical conference in early May in Chicago along with the team there. They're the smart ones. I'm just the guy with the condition. And so I will be talking to delegates about what it's like to live with dysphagia and some of the things you go through.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that. I mean,
I
appreciate that you're open with it.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of people are just, Rob from LA just texted in, love JMO.
Oh, thank you. Thank you,
This
Rob.
is a good one from Rams fan. And Koob, you're coming up after this. Rams fan says, those credit card scammers struck like a mongoose all over Dave Jamieson and his responsible credit score, but they don't know that Dave is like an anaconda taking down a pig. And we have, I don't have that soundbite. Jay has it on his board.
Oh, okay.
So that's one of the ones we play all the time. Well, Koob might have it.
This is like an anaconda taking down a pig. Thank you for remembering that the mongoose, and you know how we get fixated on weird things. I've always had a great deal of respect for the mongoose. It's kind of like the Brad Marchand of the animal kingdom. Small, kind of unpleasant, largely unpleasant, and seems to live only to screw with cobras. And just to kind of go, you want to fight, do you? Okay, I'm happy to take you up on that. And that's why I've always liked the mongoose, and I sort of go, not that I would ever want one, although my dad, when he was in Vietnam, said they used to keep a couple of mongoose around the military compound so that they would keep cobras out. Yeah.
So next time people think I'm meandering, everybody, just remember when Dave was here. That was beautiful.
I take the off-ramp in the conversation.
I do that. Jay and I do that a lot too. I'll tell you what, Dave's sticking around till 5-ish.
Sure. Yes.
So we love chatting with him. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for doing that. Remember to click the thumbs up button. If everybody did that now, we'd be word of the day territory already, because we tried to get to 130 thumbs.
Oh, nice.
Word of the day. So we're on a pretty good pace, but don't relax, everybody. Get in there and click for
thumbs.
Dave. Dave just being here and telling some great stories. I'm going to ask Dave about something to do with narcotics. Sort of, when we get back.
You've dug into my past.
Out east, the Senators and Sabres have a date with former Sabre Dylan Cousins taking on his old team for the first time. Elsewhere, Montreal visits St. Louis. The Lightning battle the Penguins, and the Jets play the Capitals with Jakob Chychrun signing an 8-year, $72 million extension in Washington. 4 games dot the AJHL slate. Drumheller hosts Canmore. Whitecourt hits the ice in Fort McMurray, and the Canucks face off against the Kodiaks. And the NBA has announced that they intend to increase the salary cap by 10% for next season. The total cash amount is projected to be around $150 million. On the court, Golden State meets Miami. The Thunder tip off against the Kings, while the Magic take on the Hornets, having 8 games in the NBA. In catcher Cal, Raleigh and the Mariners are finalizing a 6-year extension worth $105 million. Raleigh has appeared in over 150 games in 2024, having 34 home runs, 100 runs batted in, while claiming his first Gold Glove. This sports update is brought to you by Paramount Flooring, proudly serving the Edmonton area, and you can join them at the Home and Garden Show at the Expo Center this weekend to see their new and exciting products and for a chance to win a free floor. You could also find them at their showroom that's open 7 days a week or buy online at ParamountFlooring.ca. More with Dave Jamieson and Reid Wilkins on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you up to date.
Got some gently used furniture or home goods that need a new home? Find Edmonton is here to help. Every month we furnish over 100 homes to those transitioning out of homelessness, and we need your gently used furniture and home goods. Drop off at 5120 122nd Street or call for free local pickup. Just visit findedmonton.com to learn how your donations can help create a home for someone in need. Plus shop our thrift store, in-store or online, with proceeds benefit those moving out of homelessness through housing supports. Visit us at findedmonton.com. Find Edmonton, supporting our community one home at a time.
It's time for a wing throwdown at the Canadian Brewhouse. Fuego Verde versus Honey Blaze. Who's got the best flavor? Come taste the heat and get your wing fix anytime. Plus 69-cent wings all day Wednesdays. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
Join our very own Dustin Nielsen, Trey and Terrell Ford of the Edmonton Elks, and other special guests on Tuesday, April 8th at the Bell in Scona for Edmonton Sports Talks Bids for Kids, presented by GS Construction. A special live on-location show featuring a delicious appetizer buffet, silent auction, 50-50, and more. This year, Kids Sport is proudly celebrating 30 years of making a positive impact in our community. Don't miss out and join this special celebration to help continue to support those in need. Tickets are limited. Find them today at kidsportbidsforkids.com. That's kidsportbidsforkids.com.
Your home for live music and great performances is the River Cree Resort and Casino.
Someday you'll be shedding your tears.
A one-of-a-kind retrospective. It's Glass Tiger, This Island Earth, April 4th at River Cree Resort and Casino.
Don't forget me when I'm gone.
Get your tickets at rivercreeresort.com. River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement? Bet on it.
Tommy Gunn's Barbershop is more than just a barbershop. It's a top-notch, tailor-made experience from check-in to check-out. Get a precision haircut, a classic shave, or a facial to step up your style. Just walk in, relax, and let Tommy Guns take it from there. Find comfort in knowing their team follows the code, which is their commitment to care for you as a customer. Check out Tommy Guns today, in-store or online at TommyGuns.com to bring out the best in you. Tommy Guns, where every cut is done right every time.
All right, good to have you tuning in this afternoon. It is 4:28, so the Oilers play tomorrow at 8. They did not practice today, so nothing to report from Oilerville today. Tomorrow's game, 8 o'clock, so at 7 o'clock, this stream will have the Oil Stream GCL Diesel pregame show with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. I can see Dave looking at me right now, thinking Sid Smith taught you well. Never go too long without promoting your upcoming coverage, especially around live sports, whether you have the rights or not.
And thank you for invoking the name of Sid Smith, who I hired.
He was here last week.
Yeah, whom I hired.
Yeah.
I brought Sid in from after the first year we had Oilers hockey on Ched, and he came in from the pride of Kirkland Lake, Ontario, where did they make pucks, or did they have, I think their claim to fame is they have the Hillmans from there, I think. Alan Thicke, and they make hockey tape, I think.
I didn't ask him about that. Wow. Yeah, that's for next time he comes in.
Yes.
By the way, if you're texting us, and everybody, I can't read all the goodwill for texts that are coming in because we want to talk about other stuff, but Dave really appreciates it. Mm-hmm. The River Cree Resort and Casino inbox, River Cree Resort and Casino home of the Kitchen Restaurant, all-you-can-eat prime rib buffet for just $49.99 every Sunday from 4 to 10 p.m. I don't want to take too much of the mic away from you, but I got to preface where this is going.
Maybe you should after the last diversion
We're
there.
getting a few mongoose texts coming in, which is nice. And the thumbs up went, they skyrocket. Let's push over 100 here right away, everybody. Then we'll worry about word of the day territory. So yesterday, because Dustin, as always, is away, so I did Oil Stream yesterday with Tom. And Tom, I didn't know we were going to talk about this, brought up a YouTube channel he has found that has Oilers broadcasts from the early 90s, but the game is edited out. So it's the intros and the intermissions.
Oh, come on now. Where can I find this thing?
He gave me the link. If I can't find it, we'll get it to you in the next today or tomorrow. And I went on a little aside. I went on the off-ramp of how there is an insatiable, at times even a logical thirst for anything Oilers related with Oilers fans. Like
fair.
Like, do you remember that goal that such and such scored in 1997? Yes, and that was the game. Rod Phillips had a slight cough and cleared his throat as the goal was like
granular.
It's just
minutia.
Yes, that's a great way to put it.
And I don't know, Reid, if it's entirely unique to this fan base. So my background in media, I'm born here, but I lived for 31 years. I'm a Vancouverite, and I've been out here a very long time. So, and I worked for 3 years as the backup host to Dan Russell, who I'm sure you. So I was a sports talk backup host to Dan, and filled in for Dan many other occasions. And had, Brian Burke could come in and do his regular hit once a week, and that was amazing. And Vancouver fandom. And I know I'm throwing chum into the water in Edmonton here talking about the Canuck fan base. They're a little kooky, but you're not wrong. Like it is insatiable, and it's even more so. Like I know coming out of doing this on a daily basis, I'm even sort of taken back. Like, wow, I don't know how much would be too much, because you look at now in this marketplace, in this sphere of what EST is doing with Jason Gregor. All of our, people, our friends who are out there, the diversity in terms of choice is stunning. And I'm not sure you couldn't lay more on there.
Yeah.
For people, places to go to talk about the Oilers.
Well, and you would have lived this, and part. I hope I don't sound like I'm being a little arrogant here, but I realize that part of the reputation I built is that I would go off Oilers and tell a good story. And I often would get, hey, Reid, thanks for having the 11-year-old cross-country skier on, who's like, or whatever. If they're good stories and they're good interviews, but you can't do it too much. And I realize I appreciate that people connected with that. I love to do that, but you can't. But when you do that, you're going to get 5 emails saying thank you for doing that. And you're going to get 5 emails saying, I shut the station off, you idiot.
Right.
Don't you realize Brett Kulak sharpened his skates this morning and you're not talking about it? And so we live in that.
Yes.
So that's where I'm going with you. Because you said one of the all-time wisest things to me ever. And I know you said it on air.
Yes.
So I'm not telling tales out of school. And of course, my first few years doing Inside Sports and Overtime Open Line were the last 3 of the Decade of Darkness. And people like you would often ask me, like, how are you doing? Because you're just dealing with angry people all the time, and a somewhat incompetent organization at that time. And I was generally fine. But I remember you said to me, just remember this, Reid, Oilers hockey is like a narcotic in this market.
Yeah, and I wasn't wrong, was I?
No, you weren't.
Yes, and I'm not making light of things around narcotics. But it I thought at the time it applied, and it applies even more so now. It consumes, and remember, we referenced my time with the Edmonton Eskimos. I was there 14 years as the VP director and then the VP of marketing and communications. And so half of my job, I lived in the marketing of the club, and the other half I was living in the world of communications back when, there were 6 television stations, 4 reporters, 2 for each paper. You would come in from where you used to work, and so it was a big media contingent. And I know how hard it was to go up against the monolith of the Edmonton Oilers. It's impressive. And when you're out there trying to get work in your story somewhere into the public consciousness, it's really hard to get by that. Really hard.
Yeah. Well, because you were with the Esks, they were quite good.
I'm told.
Yeah.
Yes, we were good. Yes.
Because Ray was there, Tucker, Hervey, Vaughn.
Guys that were okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, won 2 Grey Cups, made 3
Mobley,
appearances.
I'm just listing off a bunch of great players.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were good. Yeah, and I say that with, I didn't make a tackle, I didn't score a touchdown, didn't throw a pass. But I was right pressed up against the glass of all of it. And yeah, we were, I'm going to say this immodestly, the last great era of Double E football. I hope that they're on to a new one.
For an era, yeah.
Yes,
because the Riley era was fun, but not quite the same.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
But I also bring this up as something that is really quite beautiful, and I said this to Tom yesterday too.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate when people say, well, people are passionate about the Oilers because there's nothing to do in Edmonton.
Well,
sorry, that's wrong.
It's not true.
Are people passionate about the Yankees because there's nothing to do in New York? Are people passionate about the Cowboys because there's nothing to do with Dallas? No, people are passionate about the Oilers because they are truly passionate about it. It helped that they were good early as soon as they came into the NHL. It helped that the plane landed here with Gretzky, but that's how things happen. So I mean, it's a wonderful thing, and it's a wonderful thing to be able to be part of the broadcasting scene for sure.
Well, Reid, I have worked, again, I'll go back to my time in Vancouver. And so I worked at CK&W. We were the rights holder. I grew up in that market. I remember going to the last game of the Canucks' first season when they played the LA Kings. Yes, Barry Wilkins did score the first goal in Canucks history. He beat Dennis DeJordy, low blocker side. I was there for all of that nonsense. And I remember how bad that franchise was for many, many years. And, the people out there, Vancouver has a lot of options, as you know, Reid. I mean, you can, if you don't go to the Canucks and you still want professional sports, I mean, obviously you can see the Whitecaps, you can see the BC Lions, or you could get in your car and go see the Seahawks, the Mariners, soon to be the Supersonics again, and on we go, and we go, and we go. So, and they're no less passionate about their hockey team out there than we are here. Ours feels just a little more focused.
Yeah. That was a great story.
Well, sort of.
But you had a great line. It still works. There was very little when the team was terrible. Like there was very little tune out. There was anger.
Oh, your numbers.
But we got to fix it.
Yes.
What
can we do?
Yeah. And even now, when they had that 5-game slide, man, oh man, like you get more interaction than ever. But I mean, it's great, and it's part of.
Well, and back to having Draisaitl and McDavid, now it skews the expectations beyond what is sort of humanly reasonable. I tell people that I watch hockey games with, and they'll be frustrated, like, oh, geez, it's only 3-1 Edmonton after 2, and I go, I just want you to be clear that the guys on the other side are trying to. They have wives, kids, ex-wives, mortgages, investments, pride, and they're trying to. So just be clear, the Oilers don't have the market cornered on dominance.
I'm glad you're saying this because I say similar things all the time, and I think people get frustrated with me saying it. So now it's nice.
Well, I'm with you, Reid. I'm aligned with you. I'm on Team Reid out there. I'm with this guy.
Yeah. Well, I should have written down the person's name so I could credit this person, but you get this text and you don't realize it's going to stick with you. But somebody wrote in to me a couple years ago at Ched and said, just remember, we are currently living the good old days. We are in 15 years.
Yes.
Do you remember when the power play was almost 30% over a 5-year stretch? Do you remember when, even though we lost, we were the only team in the history of the Cup final that wasn't played during a World War to come back and force a Game 7? Do you remember when Leon Draisaitl was the second best player on our team and won probably 2 Hart trophies, because I think he'll get one this year. So
as he should.
No, it is. Now, having said that, of course we want them to go as far as they can, and we wouldn't have shows like this if we didn't pick things apart. But it's good perspective from Dave. Dave joining me, of course, in the Canadian Brewhouse studio. Get the Canadian Brewhouse Express lunch served in under 15 minutes or it's free. Dig into the Turkey Club sandwich or Alberta. How do I say it again? Wagyu? I never say it properly. Wagyu. It's Wagyu. Wag, like wag a dog.
Yes.
Alberta Wagyu ravioli, Monday to Friday until 2 p.m. Canadian Brewhouse Studio. Looking good. Dave Jamieson is here. He's looking good. Keep giving us the thumbs up on YouTube. Here comes the Coop.
The playoff race continues as the NHL has 10 games. The Kraken and Flames clash. The Canadiens challenge the Blues while Ottawa hits the ice in Buffalo. And AJHL action sees 4 games. Calgary and Camrose duke it out. The Eagles and Dragons butt heads, while the Storm and Bobcats have a date. On the court, the Warriors tip off against the Heat. Dallas is on the road in New York to challenge the Knicks before OKC visits Sacramento, having 8 games around the association. And the Raptors have announced that Emmanuel Quigley and Jakob Poeltl will sit out for rest against the Nets tomorrow, joining Brandon Ingram and Grady Dick on the sidelines. And the salary cap is projected to increase to about $155 million next season in the NBA, which is a 10% increase from last year. This sports update is brought to you by Find Edmonton. Find takes your unused furniture and home goods to help those moving out of homelessness. Get donations picked up or drop them off free of charge. Visit findedmonton.com or call them at 780-988-1717. More with Dave Jamieson and Reid Wilkins on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you in the loop.
Get your fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
You've always known GCL Diesel as the experts in diesel fuel systems, but did you know that GCL is also your source for turbochargers and turbo repair? As a turbo supplier for Garrett, Borg Warner, and Holset, GCL can provide genuine original equipment turbos at wholesale prices. Whether it's diesel, gas, natural gas, or performance, we can provide you with the turbo or custom repair you require. Turbo questions? We've got turbo answers. Visit us in the West End or online at gcldiesel.com. GCL Diesel, turbochargers, understood.
Take your career to the next level with Nate's Construction Leadership and Supervision Program, a perfect tool for professionals looking to advance their role or an organization needing to develop leaders. Learn more about safety supervision, scheduling, cost control, and most importantly, how to lead a team. For more information and to register, visit nate.ca/CLSP to take your career to another level.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
All right, that's Jason Milne on the vocals. This is Brody. This is a little Brody.
It's North Shore.
Oh, this is North Shore. North Shore
I
is
can't
the
believe
second
you
one.
forgot.
They've disowned Brody. It's all North Shore now. Jason Milne is off until Thursday. He's back Thursday. So I'm flying. Well, Coop's here.
Yes.
We had Sid Smith in for an hour last week. Guy Flaming from the Pipeline Show came in yesterday, and we have our other guests as well. But Dave Jamieson is here. Thanks again for doing this. This is a blast to see you. So when you, you grew up in Vancouver.
Yes.
So you've spent over half your life in Edmonton now, or
Yeah,
about half?
20, is this 20, year 26, 27, somewhere? No, a little longer. No, 29, actually. So I've kind of split,
Okay.
But Vancouver is home because it's, like play school to university and beyond. And
Did you go to UBC?
Yes, I did. I am a bird. Fly birds. Yes, or whatever we used to say. Yes.
You're a T-bird.
Yes, I'm a Thunderbird. Yes.
They got a good hockey team now.
They got a great hockey team now.
Sean, everybody. There's your tidbit.
Oh, Sven Bouchard. Yes, yes. I go back to the days of Dr. Hindmarch and that program a long time ago. They were not very good at football. And they've become very under Blake Nill, correct? Out in UBC, I believe.
Yes, because he was at Calgary.
That's
and
correct.
wasn't he at St. Mary's before that?
Yeah.
Timber Woodsman. You get this is what I love about our listeners. He says the driving range in St. Albert is open. Which course would that be, though? Is there a St. Albert golf course?
No, but there's a range out there,
Oh,
and
is
I
it just-
think
or is there
it's
just
a
a
range,
range?
and I
Okay.
think I know the one. Yes, I believe I know the one. Well, good. I mean, we're off and running, right?
An unnamed texter. Give us a handle, by the way, and then we can give you a name. EST does a wonderful job interacting with their community members. It's a lot of fun to have a relationship with people I've never met. Well, that is cool, but I've met a lot of the listeners over the last 7 or 8 months at events, and they come into the office to get stuff they want and bring us food. It's pretty cool.
I want to say this, Reid, of being someone am I going into my 4th decade of talking for money, as I say, working in media? What you guys have done at EST has been really fascinating to watch on a number of levels. But one of the parts I think is very cool is the community that has grown around it, with it. I understand that people followed over from, the ashes of TSN 1260, but the level of care, like I think this to me reminds me of the old days of radio when you would, a jock would go and do an in-store appearance or something, and they'd be thronged with people.
Right.
And that's kind of the vibe I get off what it is, you guys are doing now.
So I don't want, I always say this, people, I don't want to get too inside baseball with this, but I do know there have been a couple times when I've got into broadcasting stuff that I have got some feedback with people saying, hey, it's okay, Reid, sometimes we want to know how the sausage is made.
Yeah, go behind the curtain, sure.
So when you see, and this is the thing, when you see this, because we do have the YouTube element.
Yes, there it is.
We are traditional talk radio in very many ways.
Yes, you are.
It's just we're not on a dial. Do you see the audience adjusting to this? Because I see it happening. I guess now that I work here, I wish it were happening faster, because I still get a lot of, I don't understand how your station works. I still get a lot of, you're a YouTuber.
Yes. Well, and it's funny, and people will, and I know they've said it to me about this and other entities that are similar, is, well, what is it? I understand, I listen to a podcast, whatever it may be. Is it a podcast? And I go, think of it as a digital radio station. It's readily available.
Yes.
I mean, but it is not, punch the dial on the F-150 necessarily and find it. You just got to recalibrate.
Yeah.
And that takes people, in some cases, a while to go, oh, I know how to find it.
Well, I'll compare it to a store I talk about all the time that I used to work at. You now there's actually a Netflix button on most remotes. You don't drive to block. My dad and mom needed to get a new TV a few months ago, and the remote comes with a Disney Plus, Prime, and
you got a
Netflix
Roku.
button.
Did they get a Roku television?
No, they just got a Samsung, but that's what it came with. So now you don't even have to scroll.
Yeah.
So yes, now you're like a guy. I saw someone in public, and he was like, "You're Reid." I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And he's like, "Yeah, you left Ched." I was like, "Yes." And he goes, "I heard you went somewhere else." And I said, "Yeah, I'm with something called Edmonton Sports Talk." He's like, "Oh, yeah." He goes, "It's digital. I don't know how I could ever listen to it." So I said, "Look, if you got a second, let me show you." Yeah. And I brought out the iHeartRadio app, and he goes, "Oh, that's how I listen to Ched." And I said, "Well, then you're going to be able to listen to Edmonton Sports Talk because it's literally the same app." But I mean, it is a blast. Things are changing. You got to roll with it. You got to have the content. You got to know people like you who can come in and be great guests. But it is an absolute blast working here and interacting with the audience. It's incredible.
And just a final thought on all of that, Reid. Radio at its best was, and still is in some way, a habit.
Yes.
People went to bed with it and they got up with it. And throughout the course of their day and their travels, they had their, car presets or whatever. And what you're asking people to do largely is break a habit and go somewhere else to consume what they got before. And so I get it on many levels, but in terms of what is it? We're doing a radio show with a camera there.
Yeah, it's not that big of a departure.
No, Dan Patrick is doing it. Dan Lebitard's doing it. Jim Rome is doing it.
Well, and those guys have been doing it for longer because they had bigger budgets, so they could put it on YouTube or stream it, whoever, beforehand. So, yeah, but it's been. But I'm glad you mentioned the audience because it is very. Dustin started calling them the nasties.
Mm-hmm.
It is a very special relationship. Like people come out, like if we have, I know we have our big events like the Esties and the Nasty Bash, but you have when Tom goes and does a post-game show, like there's people that go almost all the time.
Yes.
It's a real community. And I'm not saying, and of course there's a lot of people listening who maybe haven't been, you're still part of the community, but there's a very large in-person contingent to it, which is amazing. Yeah,
there's a depth to the relationship that I think would surprise people because all of what we consume now is just so here and gone, and and the afterlife, if you will, on news stories and all of that is so quick, it's gone, and we move on to other stuff. But that's where this, I think, is it's got legs, it's enduring, right?
Well, and you said radio is all about habits, and which is true. And I will also say this, and I think this is something Sid said to me too, and maybe you told him this. That now this is the true tree of knowledge. We're seeing here. But a lot of, I believe, a lot of the best radio interview format, whatever you would, a spoken word format, is the audience member almost feeling like they're just eavesdropping on a conversation between two people who are connecting.
Yes. Fair.
And connecting could be arguing. That's a form of connection.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
And that's why I will say this to the audience member tuning in right now, because we were talking about how, in this market it can be Oilers, which is cool and important and news of the day. How are they doing? What's going on? But I can guarantee you this: if I have the luxury of one day being a local gadabout who doesn't
I love that term, gadabout,
require a job.
Yes.
15, 20 years from now, you, the audience member, if you see me having a pint somewhere, you will not come up to me and say, I remember that time you gave me that stat about Bouchard's power play goals. You will come up to me and say, I remember that time you and Dave Jamieson joked about the anaconda. So that's why we do those other things. Because ultimately, that's sort of what brings the personality and the storytelling and really the richness to it.
Right, and a very nice way of you saying, Dave, when you go, take the off-ramp in a story. But you're right. Your point is very well taken. I wanted, you had a dusty old quote of mine from years ago. I want to share with something that Brian Hall said to me one day. We were talking early in my tenure as the program director at 630 Ched, now 880 Ched, if you hadn't heard. And Brian said to me, David, which meant you had to listen up. David, that which is of the greatest importance to the greatest number of people, that is what we cover.
Yes.
That is what we lead our news or sports with. And I thought, wow, you've really, in a tiny, tiny number of words, got the essence of what we're doing here. Doesn't mean you don't take an off-ramp because it's funny or enjoyable, but yes. So, there you go. Oilers win again.
Play tomorrow.
Yes,
that'll be the big story. Dallas. All right, so what's your, when you was trade deadline, were you, well, I'll ask you this way. Are you able to detach the broadcasting side of your brain, or are you still thinking, how are they covering it?
Yes,
I'm going to flip. Like you can't just be like, oh, who's Wallman? You're always like,
no. Even when I was programming Reid, or even when I was on air and getting my ass kicked by Stoff, not all the time, but most of it, I would get off the air and I would listen to what you were doing, because I felt it essential to know what else is happening in the marketplace. But how are other people approaching interviews? Like, I think you are a really, really skilled interviewer. So I listen to how you phrase your questions. I skip around. I listen to a lot of news. I'm a heavy consumer of local independent radio, CKUA and CJSR. And so I go all over the place to hear how people are doing it. Even though I'm not currently in the business, I'm still drawn by the spoken word, or drawn to the spoken word. So it's important to me. So yes, to your point, because I worked in news. Before I got into sports, I was a news guy, news anchor, news reader, reporter. And so I still have that lens. How are they handling this story? How is the panel discussion? Is the host staying out of the way? Because I would host the trade stuff, and I had the lowest hockey IQ with the group. Like I would always say, you guys are fluent in hockey. I can order you a coffee at the cafe. I can get through the conversations, but you guys, experts, dive in.
Yeah.
Dive in. I'm going to make sure that the conversation flows and we get in and out of the breaks, and I read the live tags.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things I saw when I left, Kurt Levins wrote that I'd left Ched.
Yes.
And I wasn't sure if to take this as an insult or a compliment. He said, Reid Wilkins on Overtime Open Line has been a competent traffic cop.
Well, okay. Let me just. I think it's a high compliment.
I should put that in my Twitter bio.
But not a bad. That actually would work. But Kurt Levins is really, he does radio and knows it, and knows the good stuff and knows the not good. And so if he's hearing that and thinking that and writing that, I take it as a compliment because he knows what he's doing.
The Loans, by the way, I'm going on the off ramp again. The Lone Spruce driving range apparently is open.
Okay.
And now somebody else has just sent me a link to a map. I'm sorry, I'm not going to click that. That could be anything. It could be Dave's credit card.
Right. You'll have a bill for $35 million.
I don't understand how that charge could even go through, though.
But I'd like the chutzpah that someone would go, you know what, let's run this through and see if we get it.
Are you sure this isn't John Sexsmith playing a trick on you?
Well,
you guys were working out together.
Yes, we were. Yes,
we were. Your number.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm going to buy a plane and see if anybody notices.
Yeah, I'll run this Lamborghini through.
What's you were with the Esks, as you said. It's been a long time since they've been. Like I even say, even in 06, I think elements of things were already declining.
That was the first year we failed to make the playoffs in 34 straight years. Yes. So it was the end of a long...
Which was going to happen eventually. But,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And, yeah, I mean, and then when they traded Ricky Ray, that wasn't a good move. I mean,
Were you still there?
Oh, God, I wrote the release. I phoned him to let him know because the club hadn't called him yet.
What?
I called Ricky. Hey, Rick, I hate to be... Yes, Dave, what is it? Called Ricky. I said, Rick, I'm calling to let you know that we have traded you to the Toronto Argonauts. He goes, I haven't heard from anyone yet. I said, well, keep your phone on because the red-headed stranger is going to call you, Eric Tillman. And I said, Rick, you don't have to take any of my calls. You're now property. But I'm a friend of yours. I mean, I'll help you in any way I can. And then we were off and running. And no, I was there till 12. So I was there for, the downslide and then a little bit of a rebirth. But, when you got Stephen Giles and Grant Shaw, who, is here locally and a great dude and it was a good kicker for us. But, when we got Stephen Giles and he showed up and someone said his rotator cuff is partially torn. I went, that's not good, is it?
Well, I always remember Dave coming back from training camp, and he said, we did this interview with Giles about how, he's the quarterback and he's got to be the man. Yeah, there's a lot of good players on the team. And Dave was like, that is not the attitude we need from this quarterback.
No.
Poor guy.
No, poor guy. But a good guy. But
is the Canadian Football League, like, they need a new president?
Yeah, a new
On the
commission.
record, are you interested?
Oh, God, they could do far better than me. No, I'm not. Yeah, they don't need a 63-year-old with questionable health to lead them to a better place. It's funny. They need a commissioner, and yet the franchises, in places that were hotspots before for obvious, and I know Toronto, but, listen, MLSE can still stroke checks and do. Edmonton under the Thompson Group is in a real good place right now. And Montreal and BC are fine and settled, and everyone's well financed. New commish is, it's the age old problem. Like, how do we grow this?
So are they, okay, I'll ask you this. Are they ever going to get stadiums that look full again? Or does this have to be a TV league? Is that possible in Canada?
Oh, wow.
Because so many people are like, it's so comfortable to watch a game on TV.
And there are some who believe that, TSN, and this is not a discredit to them, have made it too easy to stay home. Okay, yes. Well, you can, and maybe, in some regard that is the case. But, well, I would also flip that and say they do a very good broadcast, and it puts the league on a very credible platform, and they do it in a way that's very professional. But are we going to get back to full stadiums and the upper or fuller? It's doable, Reid, but it's as I learned in my time most recently with the Elks, selling tickets is hard. And when you saw the brand eroded to the play, we know why. We know how it got there.
Stuff.
It doesn't come back by clapping your hands. It's a hell of a lot of hard work to convince people to come back out. They're going to need to see wins, and they're going to need to see more wins. And
so is that what generally people told you? Team doesn't win it.
Yes,
we're not going to do the whole name change debate again, but we realized that was part of it.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I'll use their verbiage because I talked to season ticket holders. You made calls. You chatted with people who were upset. Of course, there's the name change, but in some cases, I felt like that was sort of a low-hanging fruit, easy to justify their decision to not renew.
Well, if they're 16-2 and win the Grey Cup, nobody cares what they're called.
Right. And if we could go back, if they'd made the name change, I don't want to get into whether, if they'd made it and they'd won out of the gate, okay, we might not be having the Cleveland Guardians are a really good baseball team. And would people like Chief Wahoo back in Cleveland? Yes, I'm sure people would, and that whole thing. But they're really good as the Guardians. Mm-hmm. They're really good. The Commanders are getting good.
Yeah.
Now, depending on who you choose to listen to, there is a feeling of they'd like to go back to the Redskins. If that happens, I don't know if you're going to see other dominoes fall in the sports world while people go, oh, well, I'm going back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But in this market, I know they expect a winner, they demand a winner, and they haven't won nearly enough.
So would you get, tickets are too expensive, and you have to say, wait a minute, they aren't?
No, I don't believe they had or have a price issue.
Okay.
It's not an overpriced product. That's professional football at the highest level in this country.
Yeah.
And so I don't believe that they have a price issue. What they had is a performance issue. And there was a lot of chaos around Chris Jones and previous administrations.
Yeah, for sure.
And I said it, I believe, on EST, was grown-ups have entered the building. Ed Hervey on the football side, Chris Morris, even though he's a rookie as a president, this is all new to him. The Thompson Group, grown-ups are in charge.
Well, that's good to hear.
The grown-ups are, so that the Double E and the green and gold, I think, are in very good hands. That's my sense. And I was behind the curtain for an entire season and saw the transition from, to private ownership and all of that. So I think now, it doesn't guarantee Grey Cups out of the gate.
Well, as you said, 8 other teams are also trying very hard.
They're trying to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dave, this was an absolute pleasure. We should try to do this
I'd love
a few times a year.
I don't think you and I have shared a microphone before, to this degree. I know we've done stuff.
Yeah, when you were in charge of the Rush,
yes,
we didn't even get into that era of your life.
That's okay.
Maybe it's better we didn't.
Well,
but I don't think we've been in studio like this.
No,
to this
and
extent.
I'd love to do it again.
We will do it again. You're a great broadcaster. You're someone I look up to a lot, and you've said and conveyed a lot of positivity to me in my career over the last
you're richly
25
deserving.
years, quite frankly.
God, yes, we go back
because early in
tell
my
people
time in
when
Lloyd,
tell
I
people how
applied for some job with the Eskimos, and didn't show up for the interview because I didn't see your email, and we did it over the phone, and I didn't get it. But Dave was very encouraging and said, "Look, if you'd want to apply again."
Yes.
I don't know what it was. It was some sort of, I think, marketing communications type thing. And there was probably a much larger staff then. And you said, if you ever want to apply again, apply.
Of course.
But you also said, if you ever want to keep, but he goes, you should also keep banging away at broadcasting because it can be a hell of a career. And it has been.
And here you are. And then I think that went on to create an opportunity for our friend Jamie Cartmell at the Oilers, who was my assistant for a long time. Then he went off to the BC Lions, and then, his senior hockey comms guy, and Sean May, now with the LA Kings, he was my assistant. So, yeah.
Tom Gazzola says, love JMO.
Oh, back at you, you handsome devil.
That is Dave Jamieson. I've ruined the clock, which you're not supposed to do on radio.
Yeah, I'm
sorry, late going to the break.
Yeah.
Here's the coop.
The EST Hangout.
Do you want to do it?
Well, I think that you can't be like, I do a perfect imitation of goal, and then just like, I'm not doing it.
Believe it or not. Okay.
Our master will never take precious from us. Master cares about us. No. Master wants the precious for himself.
The EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage. Weekday mornings 9 to 11, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
UFC 314 goes down at the Canadian Brewhouse on April 12th. Watch every knockout on the most TVs with epic food and drinks in the best atmosphere. Don't miss the action. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
At Mind 360, we invite you to embark on your mental health journey in a safe and comfortable space. Conveniently located in St. Albert, Mind 360 has a diverse team of experienced clinicians that offer a broad range of tailored services for children, adults, and families. Furthermore, we are very proud to serve our military, veterans, and first responders. If you're looking for counseling, treatment, or assessment, understand that you are not alone. Contact Mind 360 at mind360.ca to book an appointment today.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know.
According to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network and ESPN's Adam Schefter, Russell Wilson and the Giants are finalizing a one-year deal worth over $10 million guaranteed. In 11 games last season, Wilson threw for nearly 2,500 yards, recording 16 touchdowns for the Steelers. And 4 games are just about to get underway in the NHL. Dylan Cousins takes on his former team in the Sabres as Ottawa meets Buffalo. The Flyers and Leafs then drop the puck. Tampa Bay hosting Pittsburgh, while the Preds and Hurricanes go head-to-head. And back in Alberta, the Wolverines meet the Oil Barons. The Kodiaks and Canucks drop the puck, while Grand Prairie visits Lloydminster, having 4 games in the AJHL. And in Texas, San Antonio and Detroit are tipping off as the Magic battle the Hornets momentarily. Later, the Mavs play the Knicks, while the Kings clash against the Thunder. And with the Uruguay-Bolivia matchup ending in a draw, the defending World Cup champion Argentina have qualified for next year's World Cup. I'm Zachary Kubish. That was your sports update. The third and final hour of the Reid Wilkins Show starts right now.
Hope you're having a great afternoon. I sure am. I know I started off the show by saying I was irritated. I hope most of you understood that there was some comedic effect for that, even though I was irritated about the goalie interference stuff. Mikey clarifying on the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox, 780-218-9999, that the link he sent me was a map to the Lone Spruce driving range in St. Albert. Because I joked that he was trying to steal my credit card number or something like that. I didn't think you were doing that, Mikey. But yeah, apparently the Lone Spruce driving range is open. Is that the first driving range open in Edmonton and area? It's the first one we've heard about. So that's pretty cool. By the way, the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox, 780-218-9999. River Cree Resort and Casino featuring Italia Restaurant, home of the $6.99 brunch special from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sundays. Big Dave, I really appreciate this message. This has been one of the best hours of EST since it launched. Having Dave in studio is such a pleasure. Norman a Combine says, great hour, Reid. Dave Jamieson is just a great guy. I mean, obviously a great broadcaster, but a great guy with a wealth of knowledge and experience, and he's very good at communicating that. And he's someone I've been lucky enough to get to know and get some advice from or just talk to over the course of my life and career. And as I've gotten, I'm not saying I'm old, but I'm firmly middle-aged. And I've sort of just become more aware of just sometimes you got to make sure you're listening to the right people when you get advice or feedback. It's not always positive feedback either, but you'll always get, somebody always wants to tell you something. But is it an opinion or feedback that is relevant or helpful? And again, I'm not just talking about getting your ego stroked and being told you're great. It's important to be criticized and to take criticism. Is that person criticizing you because they really want to help you or because they just want to put you down and actually hold you back? And Dave Jamieson is one of those guys. He will tell it to you straight, but he wants you to grow and he wants the best for you. That's why I love him. Jasmine is in the nasty chat. Speaking of wonderful people. Hello, Jasmine. How are you? Dustin Nielsen tuning in. Is Dustin back tomorrow? I think Dustin Nielsen is back on the Nielsen show tomorrow.
That's fantastic.
That's going to be exciting. Maybe I'll send him a bit of a naughty text message in the morning. Wouldn't that be something? Well, I don't know. We'll see. Tom Gazzola tuning in as well. This is great. All my colleagues are listening. I'm thrilled. Hey, by the way, we're going to get to some fun stuff here. We're going to do our game of the night. Where are the hockey cards? We're just for fun, just because I've never done it before. No, Dustin does this, right? Let's do it. No, we'll do it next segment. Coob, is that okay? Because Coob's going to set up a special camera. We're going to open. So what is this called? We're going to do a crack. We're going to do a break.
A crack pack.
We're going to do crack, everybody. In about 10 to 15 minutes, I am going to do crack live on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Is that what I say? If Dustin's still tuning in, he's horrified for a number of reasons right now. He's probably going to want the link to log in and come on the video. He's like, Coob, I got to come on with Reid. He doesn't know what he's doing.
It is not. We're not doing the crack.
You don't say do. We're going to do crack when we open hockey cards.
We will be cracking.
We're going to do. Okay, what's the difference between a crack and a break?
Well, I think overall, you're breaking or cracking into the pack. Crack pack is the thing that they have on the Nielsen show with Wayne Sports Cards.
Right.
Crack pack, baby, crack pack.
By the way, it's National Hockey Card Day next Saturday, right? April 5th.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's Saturday, April 5th. I saw it because I was at Wayne's today and he was like, hey, open these on the show just for fun. Give us the thumbs up if you're on YouTube. You can also get us streaming audio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio app. Go through EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Let's get to at least 130 thumbs. We are 10 away. So don't delay. Get in there. Click the thumbs up. Don't be a pleasure delayer.
Click, click, click. Must you click? Please, please click. Must you click? You must click. Thumb, thumb, thumb.
All right. The headlines on this show, and Coob's been bringing you the headlines throughout the afternoon as well, are presented by Nate's Construction Leadership and Supervision Program, a perfect tool for professionals looking to advance their role or an organization needing to develop leaders. For more information and to register, visit nate.ca/CL SP. The Oilers did not practice today. We know from what Chris Knobloch said yesterday that no Draisaitl, no McDavid, probably for the rest of the week. So that's 3 games, right? Because they play Dallas tomorrow, they play in Seattle on Thursday, and then they host the Calgary Flames. That's coming up on Saturday at Rogers Place, third and final meeting of the season between those two teams. We'll see how they line up at the morning skate tomorrow. Ekholm wasn't on the ice yesterday. I'm wondering how often we're going to see Matthias Ekholm practice, just given what he's been through this year, and he's obviously faced some fatigue, I think, and some illness and some injuries. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him practicing a lot as we keep moving along. We got to get to our game of the night. Do we have the thingy for Play More Tables and Games?
Play more tables and games.
I don't know why. I know how it's going to sound, and yet I still get all giddy and laugh when I hear it.
It's surprising every time.
Game of the night for Play More Tables and Games. From ping pong and pool tables to darts and dome hockey, plus all the classic arcade action you could ask for. Visit Canada's Game Room experts, locations in Edmonton and Calgary, or online at playmoregames.ca. I should also mention that before the end of the show, we have a lot to do here in the final 40 minutes. I'm going to get to the game of the night in a second. We're going to open the hockey cards. We're going to do a word of the day, at least one, because I'm confident we're going to get to 130 thumbs. And let's even see if we can push to 155 and get to a double word of the day. I did an interview today with the number 1 ranked women's 3x3 player in the world. She's from Edmonton. It's Catherine Plouffe, and I was at West Edmonton Mall earlier today for the news conference, just kind of to get things rolling for the Hoop City 3x3. It's a few months away. It's July 31st to August 3rd. It's North America's largest FIBA 3x3 event. So it's going to have like the women's event and the men's event, and plus it's going to have a men's Quest event and a women's Challenger event. So those are like the teams trying to get into the, I guess, the higher up events. So huge event. It's back in West Edmonton Mall where it was in 2019. Canada, led by the Plouffe sisters, won it then. They had it in downtown. It was an ice district. I think the last 3 years they had it in the, what do they call it? The plaza, and then it moved to the fan park. So it was great there. I think that the players are probably a little happier it's inside again just because it's the controlled conditions. So Catherine Plouffe is the number 1 ranked women's 3x3 player in the world. Michelle, her twin sister, has been number 1, and Paige Crozon, another one on the Canadian team, was recently number 1 as well. So they got an incredible team. I think they've won this event in Edmonton every time it's been played. So I'll have my interview with Catherine coming up as well. Okay, I'm meandering again. Sorry, everybody. The game of the night for Play More Tables and Games. You know what, Coob? I'm thinking on the fly now. What do we make it? Do you have one? Do we make it Capitals Jets because it's the leading team in each conference? I'll throw that out as a possibility.
Senators, because Dylan Cousins returned there, that big trade. The Senators are on fire right now. They're trying to push for that playoff.
Sens are moving in on like getting ever closer to clinching a playoff spot. The Sabres stink though, so I don't know. For me, the Cousins angle is not strong enough, but that can be yours.
That'll be mine.
I'll go Capitals Jets. Canadians Blues is a big game. Blues 3 points up on the Canucks and the Flames. Well, I guess we got to go Kraken Flames. Because Calgary does have games in hand on the Blues, but you got games in hand are only super valuable if you win them. So that'll be one for me. We got 10 games in total. A couple of them already started. Do we have to? Well, we got to throw in Rangers Kings then too, because the Kings and Oilers are tied. Kings have a game in hand, so they're making up that game in hand tonight. So I have 3 or 4. Am I allowed to have as many games of the night as I want? I guess I'm the host of the show.
The games of the night.
I guess I'm breaking the rules, but they're my own rules. Or will somebody from Play More Tables and Games get angry with me? They'll take the arcade machine back. We don't want that. Where's the arcade machine, Jablonski? How many games of the night did you have? How many?
Well, there's over 6,000 games on that machine, right? So they can't be mad if we only pick 3.
That's a good point.
On the slate tonight, no?
The Whistle Dog says, Dave freaking Jamieson. Love that guy. That's an awesome text. All right, here's what I can tell you. We are three thumbs away from 130. That guarantees a word of the day. But I know there are some people who delay, some people who tune in after work. So whether you're on the audio stream or on YouTube, if you're on the audio stream, go to YouTube quickly and give us a thumbs up, or text somebody in your life. Tell a couple friends to give us the thumbs up.
When I first tried Fabergé Organic Shampoo with pure wheat germ oil and honey, it was so good I told 2 friends about it. And they told 2 friends. And so on, and so on, and so on.
Yeah, tell a couple friends about EST. Tell them to give us the thumbs up. Let's see if we can make an amazing late rally to get to 155 to get a double word of the day. I've been teasing these the entire time. We'll open the hockey cards, see who we got. Catherine Plouffe coming up. It's the Reid Wilkins Show with Jason Milne.
Former Steeler Russell Wilson and the Giants have agreed to a 1-year, $21 million deal with over $10 million guaranteed. And the 36-year-old threw for nearly 2,500 yards last season, recording 16 touchdowns in Pittsburgh. And right now in the NHL, there's 4 games underway. The Senators are up 1-0 over the Sabres. Brady Tkachuk with the only goal in that one. And Michael Bunting found the back of the net to take a 1-0 lead for the Predators over the Hurricanes. It's tied at 0s between the Maple Leafs and the Flyers, while the Penguins and Lightning are midway through the first. All of those ones in the first period. After that, the Golden Knights and Wild face off. The Kraken and Flames go at it, while the Red Wings challenge the Avalanche. In the NBA right now, there's 2 games going on. San Antonio leads 14-13 over Detroit, and the Hornets are down by 8 points against the Magic. We also see Golden State on the road in Miami. The Mavericks and Knicks tipping off in New York, while the Hawks battle the Rockets. And with Uruguay and Bolivia ending in a draw, the defending World Cup champion Argentina have qualified for next year's World Cup. Lionel Messi did not make the team as he sits out with an adductor injury. This sports update is brought to you by Windsor Plywood Leduc. Locally owned and operated, serving Leduc and surrounding areas since 93. They have doors, flooring, baseboards, and of course, they got plywood. Go see the knowledgeable staff today at Windsor Plywood Leduc. More with Reid Wilkins as the show rolls on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
The Nielsen Show with Lieutenant Eric.
Craig, do you think this time off?
Love is in the air. I love you. And you? And you? And you? Why choose between your beloved items? Sentinel Storage, keeping your treasures safe to be loved again. Try 4 weeks free. Details at sentinelstorage.ca.
Missing the course? The Canadian Ice House is here to keep your skills sharp. Trackman golf simulators are open. Real golf action right in downtown Edmonton. Don't let the off-season slow you down. Visit us in-store or check out thecanadianicehouse.com for all the details.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Your home for live music and great performances is the River Cree Resort and Casino.
Someday you'll be shedding your tears.
A one-of-a-kind retrospective. It's Glass Tiger, This Island Earth, April 4th at River Cree Resort and Casino.
Don't forget me when I'm gone.
Get your tickets at rivercreeresort.com. River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement? Bet on it.
All right, good to have you tuning in this afternoon. Jason Milne off. He'll be back on Thursday. Reid Wilkins with you. Zachary Kubish is here as well. We got an interview with Catherine Plouffe coming up. We'll do a word of the day before we go. Really appreciate you checking out the show. We are in the Canadian Brewhouse studio. Sharpen your skills before the courses open at the Canadian Ice House. Our TrackMan golf simulators are open. Real golf action in downtown Edmonton. Visit us in-store or at thecanadianicehouse.com for more info. So, first of all, that's cool. I got to go try out one of those golf simulators. That'd be pretty cool. So, the Oilers, by the way, off today. No practice, so they'll have a morning skate tomorrow. They will play Dallas tomorrow night at 8. We will have coverage commencing with the Oilstream GCL Diesel pregame show at 7 with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. So we'll have a bunch of Oilers preview stuff throughout the day here on Edmonton Sports Talk. As you may have heard me saying, Dustin Nielsen back. Did he go to Disneyland? I think he went to Disney World. I thought he went to Disneyland. So he went to the one in Orlando? Wow, that's a long way away. Boy, all right. Well, look forward to hearing about that. So I went to the 3x3 news conference today at West Edmonton Mall. And then I'm leaving the mall, and I'm thinking, I'm right across the street from Wayne Sports Cards. We've had Wayne on this show. He's been on this station several times. So I went and I said, hey, can I get some hockey cards and I'll open them on the show, and we'll see who we get. And he goes, yeah, that's a great idea. So I wound up getting 3 packs of cards. So we're going to open these on the show and see what we get. This is not... So this isn't a crack video where then we're auctioning them off, right? Coob, isn't that what they do? They crack them and then they mail them to people? No? Am I totally misunderstanding how this works?
For Nielsen show?
No, in general when people are on crack.
I don't think they would allow that in the mail.
Oh,
they might find no.
So let's see what we get. By the way, we have exceeded 130 thumbs. So we will have a word of the day. Let's see if we can get to a double word of the day. We need about 20 thumbs. So encourage people to get in there and thumb up the show on YouTube. All right, let's put it up, Coop. What do we have here? Do I got to lean over a little bit? Let's go to the splits, the split screen. Okay. So this pack, what is this? This is Skybox 2023-24 hockey. Look for autographics cards, and this just has 2 cards per pack. Jen Cool says, yes, you are right, Reid. You pay for the break, and people get the cards. Dude, can we get this? I got to go closer to this, eh? Can you move this closer to me? We got to get an extreme. If you're not on YouTube, we're trying to actually do another. It's like when Letterman would hold up, the band CD that was coming out right away. Let's open this up. I'm all excited for this, Coop. I'm making you work, though. Coop's like, yeah, great idea, Reid. Thanks, buddy. All right. We did not get an Oiler in this set. All right. There we go. That's nice and close. Is that focused? Close enough. All right. So, this is on air now. So, who is this? We got a Ryan O'Reilly from the Predators. Kind of a shiny one. It's like a Stardate card. It's a Stardate 3000 card. Although he's known around the league for his tough two-way play and winning ways, O'Reilly showed the Predators he's still a force with the puck. To start the 23-24 campaign, his first in Nashville, the veteran center logged 26 points in his first 31 games with the club. So we got a Ryan O'Reilly, and, he's on the best team in the league. Kyle Connor is the other one. So that was the pack with just 2 cards in it. All right. So the other packs, Coob, we have an O-Pee-Chee with McDavid on the front. Now we have an upper deck. These are both 24-25. Which one do we want to open? Which pack do we open? The O-Pee-Chee one or the upper deck one?
The upper deck. The
upper deck. So this is the one with Crosby on the front. How many cards does... this has 12 cards per pack. We're going to have to go through these. Rip City Steps says, putting the morning show to shame already with Reid trying to give us a close-up cam. I don't know if it's totally in focus, but you got to have the visual element, baby. All right, so I'm opening these. I'm looking at these for the first time. We have, Noah Dobson from the New York Islanders. Pretty good player. Nils Höglander with the Canucks. Jasmine loves Nils Höglander, doesn't she?
Oh, yeah.
Jacob Middleton with the Stash from the Minnesota Wild. Oh, this guy, didn't this guy get traded to Vancouver? Hedl?
Philip Hedl, yeah, that was in the JT Miller trade.
Right. So as a Ranger, so that's now an antique card. Dylan Larkin, fast skater with the Detroit Red Wings. Jay Milne's pick for the nicest jerseys in the National Hockey League.
Which I agree with.
Not my pick. All right. One of my mom's all-time favorite players. Not. This is a special card. It's an on a heater card. And it is Austin Matthews.
Does he have the stash?
On a heater. There it is. Austin Matthews on a heater. That's a special type of card. Rip City Step says, Reid's arm looks like he's Mr. Fantastic. Thank you. Sheldon S. is playing bingo in the nasty chat because it looks like I'm holding up bingo cards to the camera. That's awesome. I got to be honest with you. I have not heard of this next player. It's a Young Guns card. Ethan Cardwell for the San Jose Sharks. Have I heard of him?
I have not heard of him.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure if you have either.
Yeah, he's a rookie, obviously. So we got Ethan Cardwell's Young Guns card. Then we have a Welcome Aboard card. I don't know if I know this guy either. 19th overall pick in 2022. Made his debut with the Wild April 12th, 2024. Liam Ogren. Doesn't even have a picture of him in a uniform. It's just a headshot, just like a school photo. Sheldon, you're one away from a bingo, baby. You're going to get it. Oh, Provorov from the Blue Jackets. This one is landscape instead of portrait. Means you got to turn it sideways to see it. Have we got a card that's going to be worth any money yet? I don't know if we have.
I don't think
the Young Guns cards.
So,
probably not. Peyton Krebs, Buffalo Sabres. Here's a guy that Jason Milne would have had on Team Canada, probably ahead of Brad Marchand, having a good season on a good team. Dylan Strome. There. Okay, so there's our card. That's because Jay will appreciate that we got this card.
Not the Austin Matthews on a heater?
Probably no. I'll give that one to my mom and she can burn it. And then
puts on a heater to a different meaning, right?
Yeah,
gives it a different meaning.
That's a good point. And then Casey Cizikas from the New York Islanders. We get him as well. So our best card so far in terms of value here at Edmonton Sports Talk would be Dylan Strome because Jay likes Dylan Strome. One more pack, everybody. Bear with me.
Former teammates.
I had no idea how this was going to go. I just thought it would be fun to try it. If you think this is really good or really boring, give us a thumbs up. Well, we're a dozen away from double word of the day, everybody. Let's rally. We need basically a thumb a minute until 5:45, and then we're into double word of the day territory. All right, final pack. So this is the O-Pee-Chee 24-25, and these have, this one had McDavid on the outside. So, oh my goodness, we got the other half of the trade. There he is. JT Miller as a Canuck. We got a JT Miller Vancouver card. So I assume Jasmine gets this one?
Yeah, and the Nils Höglander one.
I've collected hockey cards for several years, you know. Sometimes I'll bind a book full of hockey cards, keeping them team by team. Here's my Canucks from the early 80s. Darcy Rota, Ivan Boldarev. Such an interesting bunch.
Dusty says, how are we doing this close-up cam? We have secrets, Dustin. How horrified is Dustin that I'm doing this crack video and I don't even know how?
I don't think he's horrified. I think he's entertained.
I think he's but maybe not in a good way. Adam Fantilli from the Columbus Blue Jackets is on here. Teddy Bluger. Boy, we got our fair share of Canucks, eh? Past, future, past, and present. Jasmine says, even Reid burns me. How was I burning you? How was I burning you, Jasmine? William Eklund from the San Jose Sharks. We got a couple Sharks. We're not going to get an Oiler in this bunch, I don't think. I'm not looking ahead too far. Oh, okay. Here's a really good player from the New Jersey Devils, Jack Hughes. He's hurt, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he'll be out for the rest of the season.
Oh, we got an Oiler. Should I save him for the end?
I want to know, Reid.
He's a popular Oiler. I will, and it's kind of a throwback looking card. Oh, we got these. Okay, I'll start. I've heard of this guy. I don't know much about him from the Maple Leafs. Fraser Minton. That's quite a game, eh? Or quite a name. It sounds like a guy who, he wouldn't be a Bond villain, but he would be the guy who helps James Bond. 007, you'll be meeting up with our operative in Netherlands, Fraser Minton. And then Bond's like, Minton, hope he's fresh, something like that. Okay, and then here's a good player from the league leading. Are they ahead of? No, they're tied with. Oh, no, Washington's ahead. Washington's 2 points ahead. Nick Ehlers. Where's the camera here? Did you zoom in on it even more? Well, Dustin's going to be really mystified now. Dustin's like, where'd we get all these cameras? I'm like, you bought them. You're the owner of the company. We got 2 goalies and an Oiler left. Do you want the Eastern Conference goalie? Well,
Can I guess who it is?
Wait a minute. This is not. They're both Eastern Conference goalies.
Oh.
All right. It's Jacob Markstrom as a Flame.
Ooh.
Still in his Flames jersey, but he's now a Devil. Okay. So we have that. So we have Markstrom. It says Jacob Markstrom Devils. So are these pictures from last year, Dusty? Don't they update the... Well, who's a Bruin now? Did I misidentify somebody's team? Who is now a Bruin? Now we're going through all these cards. You gotta tell me who you're talking about. Must be one of the... It
must have been way earlier.
Did Eklund get traded to the Bruins?
William Eklund?
I don't
recall,
no.
No.
Okay, who else did I say? Fraser Minton? Is he still a Leaf? I don't know.
I didn't even know who
So we have Markstrom in a Flames jersey on a Devils card. OGP comes out early, so they used last year's picks. I assume that. Oh, okay, Minton got traded. I did not know that. Thank you. I'm not up on my Fraser Minton. All right, well, this one will be a little painful for Oilers fans. It's Bobrovsky with the Panthers. He's not holding the cup or anything. It's just a normal goaltending stance. And then the only Oiler we got, so how many cards total we got? We got 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So we got 20 cards total. So we got one Oiler, but we got more than our fair share of Canucks and Blue Jackets and Sharks. We got the card. This card might be worth, you could probably get a lot for this card right now because this would be the hottest player on the Edmonton Oilers, Scoop. Who do you think it is?
Ryan Nugent
It's
Hopkins.
the Nuge. We got a Nuge card. We got the Nuge.
You snoozy Nuge.
There we go. We got a Ryan Nugent Hopkins hockey card.
It's a very
from
pretty card.
the OPG set. So that was worth it, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Getting
that was
these.
Good.
We got a Dylan Strome for Jay. We got a JT Miller for Jasmine. And we got a Ryan Nugent Hopkins for the office. And we got Fraser Minton. So I got to tell another story here. Matthew Tkachuk is offering to get the Bobrovsky card signed for us. Thank you very much in the nasty chat. Keep hitting that thumbs up button, by the way. We are tantalizingly close to double word of the day territory. Don't let the cube down now. So I stopped in speaking of James Bond, on my Instagram. You know how you get advertisements when you scroll down and they tailor to the things you look up, right? So Upper Deck makes James Bond trading cards, and they have this new set out, the James Bond Black Diamond cards. If Dustin's still tuning in, he probably knows where I'm going with this in terms of at least the price. So I thought, I'll ask. I don't know anything about these. So I go to Wayne and I said, do you have these James Bond Black Diamond James Bond cards? And he goes, yeah, like they just came out. He's like, there's this big story behind them. They were supposed to come out 4 years ago. They finally come out. And I was like, oh, like let's see them. So he shows me them. There's 5 cards in a box. Okay, Coop, what do you think the box cost? Maybe you heard me telling Hernan earlier.
5 cards in a box. Let's go $50.
Black Diamond. It's upper decks, high end stuff.
$50.
Try $400. So I was like, you know what, Wayne? I don't have that in the budget today. Let's get some hockey cards instead, and we'll open them on the show.
Probably the safe choice.
I don't know. I'm not. I enjoy hockey cards. I'm not a collector. I don't know nearly as much as Dustin. I used to be friends with somebody that was huge into hockey cards, but it's its own world. And then you can, I guess Wayne has said that. You want to come in and spend a few dollars, there's product for you. If you have several $100s to spend on cards and collectibles, they have that for you as well. But I guess if you see me with a box of Black Diamond James Bond trading cards, Coop, you can assume I've won a significant amount of money in a lottery or a 50-50 and had $500 or $400 for 5 cards. They'll sell, though. They'll sell.
It's an investment.
All right, so we did crack on the Reid Wilkins show. Let's put up the Nuge one more time. There he is. Beautiful picture of the Nuge. 9 points in the last 4 games. We are, Coob, we need 4 thumbs. We'll get that during the break. We'll play my interview with Catherine Plouffe, and we'll do probably a double word of the day. Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports.
According to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network and ESPN's Adam Schefter, Russell Wilson and the Giants are finalizing a 1-year deal with over $10 million guaranteed. In 11 games last season, Wilson threw for nearly 2,500 yards, recording 16 touchdowns for the Steelers. And Adam Schefter is also reporting that Stephon Diggs and the Patriots are reaching an agreement on a 3-year, $69 million deal. And 4 games are live in the NHL right now. The Lightning taking a 3-0 lead over the Penguins near the end of the first period, and the Hurricanes are down 1-0 against the Predators. Michael Bunting with the goal in that one. Brady Tkachuk finding the back of the net for Ottawa. 1-0 Sens over Sabres, and it's 2-1 Maple Leafs. William Nylander scoring most recently with a power play marker. After that, the Canadiens and Blues go at it, and the Golden Knights hit the ice against the Wild. In the NBA, there's 3 games live. The Heat, 4 games live. The Knicks are just getting underway with the Mavericks. The Heat are up 7-0 over the Warriors, and Detroit leads by 12 points over San Antonio early in the second. We also got the Magic up by just 1 point over the Hornets, also in the second quarter. And with the Uruguay-Bolivia matchup ending in a draw, the defending World Cup champion Argentina have qualified for next year's World Cup. Lionel Messi did not make the cut for the team as he sits out with an adductor injury. The voice of Catherine Plouffe on the other side of the break here on the Reid Wilkins Show. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
Get your fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement. retirement.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Your brand deserves more than just a whisper, it deserves a buzz. At the Hive Product Marketing, they specialize in promotional products that bring the buzz. From eye-catching giveaways to unforgettable keepsakes, they got the perfect products to make your brand stand out and get noticed. Visit the Hive Product Marketing and let them create the buzz your business deserves. The Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Visit them online at thehiveproductmarketing.com.
Jimbo says, I'd pay for some Edmonton Sports Talk trading cards. LOL. Eric Toast Garlic Bread. A limited edition Charlie the Chinstrap Penguin card. Only 3 available. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. All right. We are. The suspense is killing me. I'm refreshing. We're at 155 thumbs, Coob. We made it. So do you have 2 words of the day ready for me?
That I do.
You got to turn me up here.
Oh. There we go.
Let's go, girls.
Yes.
So we will do that in a couple of minutes. Like I said, I was at West Edmonton Mall earlier today. West Ed will host the Hoop City 3x3 Festival, July 31st to August 3rd. Paul Sir from 3x3 Basketball, he's the CEO of the 3x3 Basketball Association. He was kind of in charge of everything today. The Plouffe sisters were there, and I talked to Catherine.
Well, Catherine, good to see you. Good to see you in West Edmonton Mall. The ice is in right now, obviously, but it'll be all basketball in the summer. This tournament was here a few years ago. What's it like playing in this mall? Like, you probably came here and shopped as a kid or went to the Galaxy Land or whatever.
Yeah, it is quite different. I'm sure ice basketball exists, but we're not going to be doing that. But when we first found out in 2019, the inaugural year for Women's Series, that it was going to be here, we were familiar because we played in malls before, and it's actually a great advantage to be inside than have external factors involved. But it's also just really cool because it's an iconic part of the city, and to have people just see a really cool part of Edmonton is always a fun time. We like to brag on our city to the other teams and countries, and actually it's one of in the past handful of years, it's been one of the other countries' favorite spots to come to, just in how first-class Edmonton hosts an event.
So as you travel around the world, are most events indoors or outdoors, or is it split?
Most events are outdoors. Yep, so we'll play in most often a place where there's high foot traffic, similar to being in a mall where there's high foot traffic and people can walk by and see the sport and come and watch. Because most events are free, it's a huge advantage to just be somewhere where people can stop and watch, get to know the sport, be part of the environment and the culture and excitement around the games.
So this has become like a staple in the summer for me anyway. Like it's expanding, right? Like there's more, because now there's an extra women's event and an extra, so there's 4 events total.
Yep, so there will be a qualifier event for each on the men's side and the women's side, which is really cool. Like Paul had mentioned in his remarks that it's one of the first times there's going to be a women's series qualifier. It's just allowing more women's teams to play in the top tour events. And right now it is pretty difficult to get in the tour if you don't have the capital to do so, and especially as a private team to get a shot, it's nearly impossible. So having a qualifying event like this is really, really exciting.
So look, the Canadian team with you and your sister, you've been at or near the top of the world rankings for several years. How have you been so consistently excellent? What's the secret?
Consistency. No, that's a good question. I think, the rankings are a measure of consistency, of playing consistently and doing well over time. And so the one thing about both of us is that we're committed, and to the process. Just like whatever it takes. We have a whatever it takes mentality, and not that no one else does. I think people do. We're just okay with being uncomfortable and being in uncomfortable situations where it's built a resilience and a strength in us. And not only that, like our teammates are also in the top 10. I think Stacia just started playing with us in the past year, but she will definitely be in the top 10 if she keeps playing consistently and well. And so that just shows like just the strength of our Canadian team, and people who get the privilege to earn a spot on the team are like first-class players in character and skills.
All right, so has the season already started, or are you guys starting to travel soon, or what's happening?
So this inaugural Champions Cup is definitely early for the season on both the men's and women's side. So it was an odd time when I first found out about it. But it's kind of like to boost the excitement to the start of the season on both the men's and women's side. So the women's series tour will start in the beginning of May. We'll kick off. I believe the same for men. They might start the end of April, the World Tour. But that will really be when our season starts for us. So we'll go through until mid-September usually, and then have the AmeriCup in December, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Great seeing you. All the best.
Great. Thanks, Reid.
Catherine Plouffe, Edmonton's own number 1 ranked 3x3 women's player in the world. The Hoop City 3x3. They're already getting geared up for it. July 31st to August 3rd at the Ice Palace. All right. Fun show today. If you've been texting us, you've been using the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox, 780-218-9999. River Cree Resort and Casino, home of Tap 25 restaurant, where the entire menu is 50% off 7 days a week, and that is from 2 to 5 p.m. We have exceeded the threshold of 155 thumbs up on YouTube. Well, we're at 156, so we are in double word of the day territory. Coob, away we go.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I had some time, of course, behind the monitor.
No intro?
No intro? Let's roll it. Let's roll it.
Where's Samuel?
Kind of weird that it's me. The word of the day with Reid and Jay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
What do they got to say?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you.
Let's find out.
English, do you speak it? Then you know what I'm saying.
Me and Samuel.
Have you come at long last?
I have. I've arrived. Me and Samuel all go way back. Since he,
I know who you are.
Yes. All right.
That didn't go on air. You're not plugged in.
No, I had to check myself.
Oh, you're doing the pronunciation. All right.
So the first word is perspicacious.
Oh my God.
Perspicacious. You know it's bad when I can barely say it.
Perspicacious. Perspicacious. Perspicacious.
Very, very close, but
why do I even exist?
Oh my gosh. Okay. You spell it Perspicacious. Perspitacious. Perspitacious. And
but there's no T in there. Is it perspicacious? I think it's perspicacious.
The AI says it perspicacious. Perspicacious.
Really? Okay.
Tomato.
Well, that's irritating.
Might have thrown you.
Whoa! Whoa!
What does it mean?
I'm going to say to have an inclination to sweat a lot.
Very funny, but it means having a ready insight.
Somebody put that in the nasty chat.
And understanding of things.
To what?
Having a ready insight into and understanding of things. So it offers quite a few facts to the perspicacious reporter. Perspicacious?
All right. I did not get that anywhere close.
Okay, well, this one I can pronounce.
Why do we do this at the end of the show? I go home feeling lousy every day.
Well, it's a hard word. I can barely say it.
Dragging my chin.
Well, I think this one you might have tempestuous. Tempestuous. Wow. Tempestuous. There we go. Third time's the charm.
Tempestuous. Tempestuous. And this is to have like a volatile sort of situation, like sort of volatile, like Jay Milne and Brad Marchand have a tempestuous relationship.
There we go. Yeah, you used it right in the sentence. I'll give you that one. Characterized by strong and turbulent or conflicting emotion.
Okay. Well,
it's a tempestuous wind. He had a reckless and tempestuous streak. So Jay Milne and Brad Marchand had a tempestuous relationship.
I got to get some limericks in before we go. From Andy, Kane will return as our rocker while Skinner will be using his blocker. Stanley's our reason. Bring on postseason. By the way, what the hell is soccer? The Big Uke start of the show. Reid's firing hot. Goalie interference. I think not. Glue guy away. Reid will play. Rules in the NHL followed a little, not a lot. And then earlier, the Big Uke. Soon in YEG, there will be 3v3 with a hoop. Riedrich went to the presser, got the full scoop. Spring is here. Clean roads are near. Anyone remember Spy Kids and the bad guy named Floop? No better way to wrap up the show with a bizarre and somewhat obscure movie reference. We'll tee up the Oilers and the Stars on the show tomorrow. On behalf of Zachary Kubish, I'm Reid. Thanks for tuning in.